With round 1 at hand, Virtual Mini Challenge is already abuzz with excitement. VCS Season 2 champ William Levike is primed for another title run, but rival Ryan Collin will try to undo the French-Canadian success. THR once again field a strong lineup and look ready to win the Constructors' Cup, but return of Terra Australis Racing and newly formed Sim Speed Racing look to play spoils at Jacarepagua. Virtual Mini Challenge, round 1, tonight.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Hello and welcome to the first round of the Virtual Mini Challenge hosted by us here at the TouringProSeries and sponsored by GamePod, the longest running manufacturer of racing furniture in the world. Okay, so make sure to look them up at gamepod.co.uk if you're in the market for some new gear. My name is Danny Asbury and I'll be commentating for tonight's spectacle, which will consist of two 20-minute laps, 20 lap races around the Brazilian circuit of Jacarepagua Curva Sul. We have many stories and many headlines to get into, but first let me take you down to the grid where we are about 15 minutes remaining in the final practice before we get going to qualifying here. Again, another 15 minutes and we will be getting started, or about 20 minutes I'm hearing before the qualifying begins. So here we are down to the grid. Let's go on board actually with Mr. William Levike, who tops the timesheets. Let me just get to him. 1 second here. And there we go, William. He's on top of the timesheets. He's been the fastest driver all week through testing. So let me just make sure to get you up there toward the front. 1 second, guys, and then we should be okay. There we go. William Levike is the top man. Peter Dweever right behind him with Nato Nascimento on P3 at the moment. Now, again, this is just final practice. About 20 minutes time, we are going to go live into quali. A bit about quali. It's going to be a 10-minute session, not a super pole. So these guys have really got to hunker down now. Make sure they have their cars together to put a good run on. Now, a bit about our usual commentators. Obviously, Toby Davis and Ben Davis, the two brothers, they are set to be your commentators for the remainder of the season. But unfortunately, they have some business of their own to take care of. They are karting, I believe, this weekend. So now you have me to step in for them. I'll try my best to hold down the fort in this inaugural round 1 of the series. So now a few things I want to get into before we get into qualifying here, and that's mainly first let's talk about the article written by Robert Wiesenmuller, obviously the Virtual Mini Challenge commish, where he pretty much did a preseason rankings where he did the top 12 drivers going into the season, well, the guys who are thought to finish inside the top 12, and those guys are Ryan Collin, William Levike, Emmanuel Goxzella, Peter Dweever, Robert Wiesenmuller in 5th, Gabriel Bechtold in 6th, Chris Butcher, Darius Widerski, Dan Allison, Keith Barrick in 10th, Nato Nascimento in 11th, and Adrian McNaughton in 12th. So those are the guys pretty much picked to be the favorites going into the season. A bit of breaking news surrounding the guy who is a perennial favorite to win the league, or who was the perennial favorite. That is Ryan Collin. A last-minute decision to pull out the championship by the British driver. Obviously, this is his driving of choice, these front-wheel driven cars. But you know, Ryan, he decided not to compete this year. It's unfortunate because a lot of people are looking forward to seeing him go against his rival, William Levike. Unfortunately, like I said, we're not going to be able to see that tonight. But we do have a host of drivers that are looking very competitive. I mean, the live race at times are very close around this about a minute-and-a-half track of Jacarepagua Curva Sul. William Levike, like I said, now he probably does become the favorite to win the championship. But this man we're watching right now, Peter Dweever, sitting in second place so far on live races and, of course, in our server here. This is a guy that can take pole position. He's won a championship before in TPS, obviously World Touring Masters Season 2. Haven't really seen Peter in a full force effort in TPS since that championship. I mean, he did contest Virtual V8 2012 pretty well, pretty commendably. Won Bathurst, which was the final race of the season. But I talked to Peter before the race here tonight. He said he's very much looking forward to these cars, very much looking forward to really competing here. So this is a guy really you got to watch out for to win the championship. A motivated Peter Dweevlar is a guy that can hoist the title when all things are said and done. Who's behind him is Nato Nascimento, believe it or not. And Nato, he's not on the track right now, but this is another guy who looks, there he is, actually going on the track right now. Nato Nascimento, driving for BTR Racing. You didn't see him in the trailer there, but BTR Racing, this is a team that can actually, I think this is your best bet to go against THR if, and challenge THR for the Constructors Cup. BTR, the other driver besides Nato Nascimento is a guy that's very interesting. It's Gabriel Bechtold, okay? Now, Gabriel, this is a guy who's actually a very famous sim racer inside Brazil. Gets a lot of media coverage over there. It's really good to see him out here racing with us tonight, and Gabriel is down there in fourth. There he is, again, driving for BTR Racing. A very strong team this is looking like, indeed. Unfortunately, with THR, we are missing Chris Butcher tonight. He is Wayne Levike's teammate, and Chris Butcher, I mean, when you look at the slate of TPS drivers right now, there's not many guys better than Chris Butcher. Chris Butcher's been one of the strongest drivers in TPS over the past month, and I talked to Chris. I remember he told me he rededicated himself, if you will, to sim racing, got a new wheel, and he's looking very strong. It's unfortunate that he is absent tonight. I mean, this is a guy that could potentially challenge for the title if he was slated to drive all 6 races. Another guy, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see tonight is Keith Barrick, another TPS champion. Him, Dweevlar, and Levike, I believe, are the only 3 former TPS champions in this league. Out those guys, we're only going to see Levike and Dweevlar contest for this round 1 win at Jacarepagua Curva Sul. So, again, those are most of the contenders talking about. Matt Clark is seen there in 5th place. Clark is a guy who's kind of a dark horse for this championship. Not much talk about this driver, but there are a few guys like this that can really turn some heads, I think. Another guy is Karamadaru Andre Bogdan, who's a bit chuffed, actually, to be left out of Robert Wiesenmiller's preseason report. You know, he's going to be a guy that's got a lot of fire to kind of prove people wrong here tonight. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. There's a few other guys I would like to talk about before we get into qualifying here. This is another guy of note here, Emmanuel Gagzella, and I'm sorry if I am butchering the pronunciation of that name, but this is a guy right here who won the RD Stock Car Championship. He's the reigning champion of that league, a guy who really knows how to drive these cars in World Supertech, not World Supertech, GSC Game Stock Car, which of course is the platform for the Virtual Mini Challenge. With Emmanuel, if he can just stay out of trouble here early, get solid results to stay up front with a guy like William Levike's and the Peter Dweevlars, if guys like Levike misses around, all of a sudden Emmanuel's going to be in with a shot maybe to win the championship and get his first TPS title. I think this is actually his first league, so this is a guy you definitely want to watch tonight. Adrian McNaughton, this is a driver who was very strong, I believe, on live races, if I'm not mistaken. I'm actually going to check the times for you right now. So Nascimento, no, I'm sorry, I get Nascimento and McNaughton a little mixed up, but McNaughton nonetheless was one of our preseason favorites. So look for this guy maybe to turn some heads and get the job done here. I'm just going to continue to go down the field here to really highlight the contenders. In a little bit of trouble here, a little bit of freeze up with the broadcast. Oh, I'm sorry, we're actually going to qualifying. Didn't get to everything I wanted to there, but nonetheless, we are at qualifying. 10 minutes are on the board. We're going to try to update you with the top drivers, the guys who are going out on track. Right now, looks like we got a few drivers heading out. Obviously, only 10 minutes on the clock. You've got to think the blood is pumping for a lot of these guys to get out on the circuit and cut some laps around this this track here. Again, only 10 minutes on the clock. Expect drivers to get anywhere between 4 to 7 laps. 7 laps is pretty much the maximum, and there we go. Dan Allison, he's a guy I wanted to talk about very quickly. Another guy who I talked to him before the race. He said he's done a lot of practice for this one. He's really pumped up for it, and he's going to put a full effort in all season. So when you have a guy of Dan Allison's caliber that's going to put in a full effort, he's going to do something. He's going to be a driver of note through the remainder of the season. There's Reese Gardner, James Johnson getting out on the track. The aforementioned Jacarepagua Andre Bogdan. Now you're only seeing Jacarepagua there on the board, or Jacarepagua Bogdan on the board, but he likes to go by Jacarepagua Andre Bogdan, so just get that in there for him. This is our esteemed league admin, Robert Wiesenmuller, who's looking very sharp today. I mean, all week through testing, Robert Wiesenmuller has probably been a top 5 driver so far on the timesheets. It's going to be nice to see him really fight for the front. He likes he likes game stock car as a racing platform. So there's Darius Swiderski, and this is one of the drivers of probably a huge ATCC contingent that's going to be really pushing to kind of warm themselves up for the American Touring Car Championship that's only getting started in about a month and a half here. So drivers are starting their lap. There's Matt Clark. He was 5th, you know, in practice, but there's William Levick in front of him. But Levick is not on the lap, I don't think. Let's see. Oh, actually, no, Levick is, because he's not getting out of Matt Clark's way. Let's actually see if we can get on board with Levick, and there he is. This guy is going to be the favorite, really, to take pole position. The only guy to begin the 23.7s, the second driver is Peter Dweevar with the 23.8, I believe. So Levick is the favorite to take pole here as we're going through. This is the second corner, Curva Sul, and now we get up to, I believe this is Giria, the third corner on the track, and Levick goes wide there, completely misses that corner. Lets Matt Clark go through. So maybe Levick is not, actually Levick is on a time lap, but this is probably going to be a throwaway. So let's ride on board with Peter Dweevar, who is, I believe this is this is going through box here, the 6th corner on the track as he gets up to Victoria, the 7th and final corner on the track. A third gear corner. You got to carry momentum through this one. Takes a wide line, tries to cut it in, get to the apex, a little wide down the apex, but let's see if Dweevar can make this work. Gets out to the start-finish line. Let's see what Dweevar can come up with. 24 flat there, so that's a banker lap, okay? I don't think that's going to take pole. You're pretty much going to need, actually, I'm sorry, 24.4 for Peter Dweevar. You're going to need a lot better than that to be inside the top 5 even, because Gabriel Bechtold has already jumped to the top of the sheets with 20, I believe that's, yeah, 24 flat. Matt Clark is on a 24 flat, and Peter Dweevar is in 3rd with his 24.4. And this is Gabriel Bechtold now in the second lap. I believe in front of him there, is that Matt Clark? I am not sure about that. Let me just take a quick look there, see who he's got in front of him. No, that is not Matt Clark. A lot of drivers in similarly colored livery, so you have to bear with me as I try to figure out who is who through tonight's proceedings. Meanwhile, Bechtold continues his lap behind, again, actually it's a box corner again. So far, Bechtold has not been able to improve through any sections, but Peter Dweevar is now really picking it up. Let's go on board with Dweevar. Let's see if we can get the Dutchman here. Going back to Dweevar in 5th place right now as he gets to, I believe this is Victoria, the final corner on the track again. And Nato Nascimento is looking very strong indeed as well, but here's Dweevar getting back to the stripe. Can he take pole position outright? He's looking for a 23 to do it. 23.8. That's very good there. That's puts him on provisional pole by about a 10th and a half. Emmanuel Gaxella, he's doing very good on a lap. Personal best. Here we go with Emmanuel here. Adrian McNaughton's also on a personal best here in Sector 2. This is Victoria corner. Once again, the final corner on the track. Emmanuel gets a nice run out the corner. Let's see what he can come up with. So far, he's in 6th. Can he improve going to the line? He does. Just up to 5th, though, jumps Adrian McNaughton. And McNaughton's on a personal best, so let's go on board with him as he goes to the start-finish line. Tries to hold it on the outside. Make sure to get the best run off that corner. And no, he keeps his position with a 24.2 there. Also breaking into the 23 is William Levick. Sorry, we missed that for you. Let's go up to Levick, see if he's on the lap. And he is, but he's 2 tenths down on Dweevar's time. And Dweeb lost 23.8. That's going to be a hard time to beat. Only Levick's been able to go above that. But at the same time, you only have 5 minutes remaining on the board. It's going to be hard for Levick to come up with the goods right now. William, he's made a name for it, coming down and putting on his best laps when he has to have it in the closing stages of the qualifying. So you can't count this driver out until there is absolutely no time on the board, and he's not going to hit a lap this time. But there's Nato Nascimento down in 7th on a personal best. Let's go down and ride on board with him. Here he is in 7th. And he's going through Victoria again to finish off his lap. Let's see what Nato can come up with. Darius Widerski in 9th. Nato Nascimento in 8th, trying to improve his time. He does by 1 spot. The field is so close already. About 4/10 separating 1st to 7th. So that's very good stuff. And about only half a second from 1st to 8th. Karamadel Andre Bogdan there in 8th position. Robert Wiesenmuller down in 10th, but he's on a personal best. So is Reese Gardner. Let's actually go on board with Wiesenmuller, see what we can, where he's at right now. He just comes through, I believe that is turn 5 as he goes down to box. A lot of these drivers, we're catching them as they go through the same complex. Hopefully we can get somebody a little further up. William Levick is going on a personal best. Let's see what he can come up with now. Remember, this is a driver that is pretty much perennial favorite to take pole position tonight. Only driver to beat Dweeb last time with 23.8, which he has done on live races, and he actually did it, I believe, there in the final practice. But he is a 10th down on Dweeb's time. I'm sorry, as he just goes through box there, turn 6 as he gets into Victoria. Not sure if he's going to be able to beat Dweeb's time here, because Dweeb is pretty quick through this final sector, but Levick has said he's very good through sectors 2 and 3. The first sector is what he struggles with. And let's see what he's got. A 10th down, remember, going into sector 3. Oh, and he clips about a few hundredths of a second off, maybe a hundredth of a second off, but he's still off of Dweeb's time there. Adrian McNaughton continues to improve. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath down through 10th and through 15th, as the times are getting really very close there. Actually, it is 9th to 13th. It's like only 4/10 of a second. So let's see what's going on down there. There's Dweeb again, about to start another lap. Reese Gardner just slid up to 10th, and here's Darius Widerski. 2 guys, ATCC mainstays, and these guys are definitely going to be battling it out with one another as they get themselves back into that sim racing mode before American Touring Car Championship starts in November. Swiderski, here we go through Curva Sul, the second corner on the track. Lots of commitment you have to take through that corner, as heavy camber, you've got to slide the car, but you can't overdo it because these minis will step out on you very easily. About 4/10 down there. That's probably not going to cut it for Swiderski. We'll see what he can do through the second sector as he just goes through there, Moretti, and now he gets up to turn 5. A car right out in front of him. He's not going to like that. Hopefully he doesn't hold him up too much. As up at the front, Gabriel Bechtold is now on 3rd place. Matt Clark on 4th. Adrian McNaughton holds 5th with Emmanuel Doxella right there in 6th. Robert Williamson, Darius Widerski has to take some evasive actions to keep his lap time intact as he goes down to 10th as Dan Allison slots up to 10th, and Swiderski down to 12th as Allison slots up to 10th. And Swiderski's about to take it across the line, trying to improve his time. Let's see what he can come up with here. 11th. Okay, so if you're seeing how tight it is, these guys, every lap matters. Only a minute on the board now. It's do or die time for the drivers at the front as well as those toward the rear of the field, and of course here in midfield. We've got Ray Lilly doing very nicely down in 15th. Said he was not fit. He never does too well in the qualifying session. I believe that's really just then going past Darius Widerski, and it was as he gets up to the. Actually, that wasn't Lilly, but Lilly starts a new lap as Peter Dweevelar goes quickest through sector 1 by only about 8/1,000ths of a second. So that's probably not really going to improve his time too much unless he comes through sectors 2 and 3 better. But here we go, Ray Lilly about to head into Curva Sul. See if he can improve in 15th. I believe this is the best Lilly's ever done in qualifying. Really commits to his line through his entry there through Curva Sul. Let's see if that pays off for him in this sector 1 time. 6/10 behind so far. Not too bad. Let's see if Lilly can pick it up though through sectors 2 and 3 as he gets up to Moretti, I believe turn 4, as now he gets now to turn 5. But I think this is about the last turn in sector 2, and we'll see what his time is as he goes under the Touring Pro Series banner up at this right there, and second and a half down, pretty much second 0.3 as he goes through box. Lots of commitment through that corner, and that's a very nice turn there by O'Reilly. But here's Nato Nascimento. Sorry to jump off Lilly for a second. In 8th, who has just run the fastest first sector time, as now he's going to try to get into sector 2, maybe jump up from 8th position. Remember, Nato Nascimento, the guy who was ranked, who ran the 4th fastest time on live races this week at a 23.9. We'll see if he can hit that time out, and he messes up through sector 2. It is now about 2/10 down on Duivelar's pole time at the moment, and this is going to end qualifying as time has expired. We'll see if Nato can come up with the goods here through Victoria as he holds it in very tight. That's a nice smooth line. Let's see if he can get on the power. He does hit the curbing on the way out. We'll see what Nato Nascimento can come up with. He needs it, and he puts him on 3rd position. That's a clutch lap by Nato Nascimento as he goes even faster than Duivelar through that 3rd sector. So it leaves you wondering if Nato could have come up with a better time through sector 2 there. He might be on pole position. Mike Bell, as finishing his lap 29th, he's not going to be happy with that. And just for the viewers to know, we do have 30 cars on the grid here tonight. Let's actually scroll through the times. Just give me a second here. As Mike Bell hits the pits, these guys are just finishing up. Some guys are finishing up their final laps. Let's take a look. None of the leaders are on track, so it looks like Peter Duivelar is your pole man. Darius Swiderski finishes up his lap. Let's see if he can improve on 11th. Swiderski cannot improve there, so he sticks out 11th. I think he's going to be pretty happy with that. He slots in behind Dan Allison and in front of Reese Gardner. Let's see if there's any other drivers here finishing up a lap. And now we are going into warm-up. So now that ends qualifying. The lead off the grid, we have Peter Duivelar, William Levite, Nato Nascimento, but we will take you through the running order a little later here. I'm trying to actually, let's see if we can pull up the grid here for a second. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Obviously, my first time doing a broadcast here, so hopefully you guys are bearing with me. 5 minutes on the warm-up clock, which is actually now down to 4 minutes. So these guys can now readjust to race fuel, get themselves reaccommodated with how the car feels. Tire wear is not going to be too much of an issue here. So it's just about how these guys can now adjust with a little bit more fuel in the car. Drivers like William Levite are always going to be strong because they take such good care of the tires. But, you know, it's not going to be as prevalent as it is in a series like Virtual Clio's or Virtual V8 Championship, Virtual V8 Supercars Championship, that is. This Chris Sykes, he qualified 30th and last, so not the best qualifying for Sykes, but obviously he's got a chance to make up some time in the race. As we're taking a look through positions 9 through 24th, you have Karamidar Andre Bogdan there at 9th, Dan Allison 10th, Swiderski there 11th, Reese Gardner, James Johnson, he's driving for THR Purple, Ethan Bass down in 14th. Ethan, he's a guy who grew up on Race 07 pretty much. He's still adjusting to some of these newer games like GSC or a different platform like R Factor, but 14th, he's going to be pretty happy with that. Brett Gray there in 15th, who's driving for Terrace Australis Racing. I believe he actually leads their contingent there with that 15th place. Ray Lilly going to be very happy with that qualifying run there in 16th. Usually don't see him that far up the grid. Marlon Lins there in 17th. Davey Van de Veen rather, down in 18th. And Van de Veen, he was pretty quick through live races testing this week, so he might not be too happy with that. As Chris Sykes pulls off the side of the road, don't really know what that's about. Brandon Russo there in 25th, but to go through the list, you have Paul Wood, 19th, Philip Antonia with Vinicius Ferreira, on another THR driver, Vinicius. I was a little bit surprised to see him get called up the race with Robert Wiesenmuller in THR Green, but 21st, THR is not going to be too thrilled with that result, I guess, from Mr. Ferreira, but we'll see how his race skills are. There in 22nd. Sorry, Alexander Rhodes, obviously the founder of AGR Motorsport. His teammate is Jacarepagua Andre Bogdan, who is in 9th position, a top 10 for Jacarepagua. He's going to be happy with that. Sorry, I'm going up the list. Robert Isles there at 23rd. Daniel Wood, 2 guys driving for Terrace Australis Racing. There's in 24th. Brandon Russo in 25th. Simon Gardner driving for SimSpeed Racing, 26th. There's Scott Sovic, 27th. Jonathan Okerklint there in 28th. Mike Bell, 29th. And Chris Sykes, like we said, in 30th. There's Jacarepagua Andre Bogdan. Now that's just, you're seeing the 1 next to his name because this is in practice, and Jacarepagua has obviously run the fastest time in practice. Not some of the leaders aren't on laps so far. I think they're not even on track, but there's the Vike, he's on track, Nascimento. But like I said, these guys are just getting used to the car's feel under those race conditions. 20 lap race, 2 of them. So again, not too heavy on the tire wear. This track is heavily cambered in some corners, so these guys just have to make sure to be nice and consistent. You don't have to look after the tires too much, but it's certainly something that could wear on, become an issue probably past lap 15 or something like that. Definitely not an issue too early on in the stint. So anyhow, just a quick update as time is running out here. So we're about to get to the formation lap. We do have a virtual mini challenge does feature a formation lap. So these guys are going to have to take it around. Hopefully nothing too bizarre will happen through it. I mean, the slow cars, these Clios, I mean, these Mini Coopers are, so you shouldn't see too many issues here. So these guys are just going to get started on that formation lap in about 30 seconds as warm-up ends. So the guy pretty much that's going to, this race is pretty much going to come down to Peter Duivelar, William Levike, Nato Nascimento, Gabriel Bechtold, and those are pretty much the 4 guys you were looking at going into this thing. Matt Clark, he's going to have a nice little play at this thing. Anything can happen in these underpowered minis like this. So pretty much anybody inside that top 8, that top 10, if they get a good enough run, could certainly be a factor as we get going here tonight. Let me just load us up to William Levike here, or Peter Duivelar, as he sits atop the field. Again, a formation lap, so these guys are just going to warm up their tires, try not to do anything too crazy here. As Peter leads us away on our formation laps, it's going to take about a few minutes to get around here. Obviously, the cars aren't going full speed. Normally, like you've seen from qualifying, laps are about, on race pace, about a minute 24 seconds, maybe a minute 25 as the tires get a little bit more worn down, but certainly we're looking at about a 30-minute race for race 1 and the same in race 2. So again, just about a little bit about our sponsors and the prize fund for the league. GamePod have offered up a GT2 Sport racing cockpit for the winner. Now this thing, and you got to hear this one. This thing is worth $1,100. Okay, $1,100. All right, brand new. Okay, it's going to have your name on the back of this thing, and there's no sign-up fee to get in these leagues. Okay, $1,100 equivalent prize for the leader. Okay, if you're watching a TPS broadcast for the first time, you got to get in this league because this is where it's happening. I can't shed too much light on this, but even Riser Studios is going to do an official series with us because, and like I said, I can't talk too much about that because we are still in the works, but even game manufacturers themselves are realizing TouringProSeries is the place to be right now. So if you're a driver, this is the place to sign up for. Again, no entry fee, and you're getting top-of-the-line prizes on tap here in most of the TouringProSeries leagues here. Obviously, GameSpot sponsors this one, Virtual Clio Series, and they were the 2012 sponsor of Virtual V8. So you're seeing the cars go through Victoria. Peter Duivelar is now going to grid his car up, and we are getting ready to start the race. These guys, again, it's not going to be a rolling start. I'm sorry. You guys are going to go to grid, and then we're going to be taking the lights for the first time this season. A very nerve-wracking time for the drivers. Championships are made can be made here, or maybe they can't be made here, but they can certainly be broken if you screw this up. So you're seeing the cars in the background stopping, and then we are going to get to the lights in a moment here, and we're going to be starting round 1 of Virtual Clio's mini series, Virtual Mini Challenge. Here's Peter Duivelar on board with the pole man, as we'll see him take the lights in a second. Trying to get outside the cockpit, and he does take the light. There's Duivelar off the line. Levike is going to challenge him up the inside on turn 1. And look at Neo Nascimento. He's looking very strong indeed. We'll try to look for a gap here before we get out on the start finish, the next long straight. And Levike is going to take the lead away from Duivelar, and Bechtold, or rather Nascimento, is going to look on Mr. Duivelar himself. He's now got the overlap, but Bechtold, or Nascimento, I'm sorry, slots in right behind Duivelar. But Duivelar's coming right back at Levike, going to have a look for Curva Sul, and he's got him. Can he stick the move? That is done right there. And look at Nascimento. He's going to shove out Wayne Levike and gets right inside him. And now you've got Peter Duivelar leading with Nascimento in second, when just a few seconds ago it was Wayne Levike that looked like he was going to lead this race. In the background there, you've got Emmanuel Goxella in 4th place, up from 6 on the grid. And behind him is going to be Gabriel Bechtold as he slots in behind. Robert Wiesema moves up from, to 7th position. Dan Allison there in 8th. But here we have Peter Duivelar defends his pole position as we get to, I believe this is box corner, the 6th corner on the track. These leaders are lined astern, and let's actually take a ride back through the field very quick. There's Emmanuel Goxella, and in the background you have Mr. C going off track for a minute, but he saves it. And let's take a look here. And here's Robert Wiesema looking very sporty on Adrian McNaughton there in 6th. Dan Allison is behind this battle. And let's see if Wiesema can get a run here. These minis off. Oh no, who is that? It's Nascimento, or I'm sorry, McNaughton, who gets a little sideways. Not sure if he got some contact or what there, but here's Wiesema going to try to get the outside line through the first corner. And I'm not sure if that's going to work, because now Dan Allison's got the inside. And Dan Allison, a little hip and shoulder, but he cannot do it. No, he does do it. He's got the overlap. He's got that move made. Wiesema down to 8th. And now Wiesema's got to watch out, because Matt Clark, who is now down to 9th place from starting in 5th, and there's McNaughton under pressure from Dan Allison, and Dan Allison's going to take advantage with McNaughton's mistake. McNaughton slides his car, and now he loses position there. Wiesema is going to try to look at McNaughton himself, and he does. Listen, McNaughton is all over the place. McNaughton's got to get the nerves calmed down and get damage control, because right now he can fall back behind Matt Clark, who's going to be hungry to get his position back. You're seeing now, who is that? This is Manuel under attack here by Gabriel Bechtold, or rather Manuel's putting Gabriel Bechtold under attack. No, I'm sorry, I had that right the first time. Bechtold moves up to 4th. He was in 5th, and so now Bechtold will try to join this battle for the lead, as you have Peter Duivelar with a 3/10 gap over Nascimento, and Levike is right behind these guys, challenging to try to maybe get back up to Duivelar. But the battle is right here in midfield, as you've got Robert Wiesema up to 8th, but it's Matt Clark who's now trying to have a look at the German on the outside for turn 1. We saw this move really didn't come off for Wiesema in the last lap, but nonetheless Matt Clark is going to go for it. Maybe he's got a switchback in him. Jerry Swiderski there in 10th, with Ethan Bass up from 14th now. So Ethan's making some headway up the field. Cameron down Andre Bogdan down to 13th from starting 9th on the grid. And here we go, Wiesema, he's got Matt Clark on him, and Matt Clark is going to look for the move here at Curva Sul. Not going to happen. Wiesema shuts the door, and Wiesema keeps his 8th position. So now we're going to maybe take a ride a little bit. No, Wiesema is not done yet. He's not going to let Adrian McNaughton get away, as he's got Matt Clark all over him. I mean, you see these minis, they're all over the place, line to stern, but very clean stuff. No first lap complete conundrums or something like that, or mess-ups, or rather, I was looking for. But here's Wiesema. He's now going to do the move on Adrian McNaughton, and that is done. Thank you very much, Wiesema says, as he is up to 7th. And wow, look at McNaughton. McNaughton is swerving all over the place. He needs to defend his position rather than trying to make maneuvers on Wiesema, because Matt Clark is looking very sporty right behind him. And up at the front there, there's Gabriel Bechtold has lost his position to Emmanuel Goxella. Obviously, Bechtold couldn't pull away into that lead battle. So, and there's the fastest lap from Peter Duivelar at 24 flat. That's remarkable. Only 2/10 off his quality time. So Duivelar is on it right away. And there's I'm sorry, here we go with AJ McNaughton. Recently, McNaughton just not letting each other get away. But let me take a ride up the field, down the field rather, very quickly, just to see how things have shaken down. There's Reese Gardner there in 12th. He started in 12th, so this is a driver that's actually managed to hold his position. And you see in there in the foreground, McNaughton and Reese Miller continue to go at it. Here's Reese Gardner behind Ethan Bass, two ATCC veterans. But Reese Gardner has got Mr. C, Karamadara, Andre Bogdan lurking in the distance. Continue to go down the field here. We have Mr. Marlon Lins there in 14th with James Johnson behind him. James Johnson has got Paul Wood near him. And Paul Wood actually made quite a bit of ground. I think he started in the 20s or maybe 19th, but he's up to 16th. But looks like there's a battle brewing for the lead as... Besides, just a bit of a mistake there. I'm still trying to get used to how this overlay works here. Sorry about that. Here we're up to the front. We have Peter Dweeblar, but look right behind him. William Levike has not allowed Nato Nascimento to get away. And Peter Dweeblar again sets the fastest time. These are quality times. I mean, absolutely blistering pace here at the front. You can see these three drivers on another level. They can dropped off Emmanuel Godzella there in 4th by about 3 seconds, or 4 seconds rather. And Dweeblar, though, despite his fast laps, has gained no time on Nascimento and Levite. So Nascimento, listen, he's in the slipstream. He can't. Peter Dweeblar's having trouble breaking that toe there, and he's got to watch himself because if Nascimento can get up to him, he's definitely going to try to move. He did a move in lap 1 on William Levite to take that second position, and he's going to look very hard indeed to get around Dweeblar for the first position. I think Levite at this point of the race, he's just into making sure he doesn't let these guys get too far away, keep his tires in check, and then he might try to make a play during the second half of this race. That is what this driver has made his bread doing. And so here we go through box. Doesn't look like there's going to be an overtake here, and yeah, there's not going to be overtake. And right now these guys are just going to hold it nice and steady, and pretty much going to let Peter Dweeblar lead him around. Nothing too imminent indeed going on at the front. There is Gabriel Bechtold, Dan Allison, and Emmanuel Godzella. Another three-car battle here. This one's surely be a little bit more intense because if these guys have the pace to go up, and there's Nascimento. Sorry to break my train of thought there, but Nascimento now has the fastest time. And look at him. He is looking very menacing behind Peter Dweeblar. Dweeblar cannot like what he's seeing. I mean, you got to think Dweeblar, he's putting up pole times, and he's got a 2:10 gap on Nascimento there. And Nascimento, he's in the toe. He might have a look here through Curva Sul. He thinks better of it and lets Peter Dweeblar take the inside line. That's not where you want to be entering that corner. And Nascimento's going to try a nice little cutback. He's side by side with Dweeblar going through Curva Sul here. Now to the third corner, but Dweeblar is in position. Can Nascimento pull a cutback? He does! Side by side now, going through the fourth corner. But look at Dweeblar. Every corner he goes into, he's in position. So he's just barely able to hold on to the lead. This is classy defending. While we see McNaughton really struggle to hold on to his positions, we're seeing defense by a champion. This is how Dweeblar does it. This is how this guy makes so much money. This is why this guy is a rising star in sim racing. It's probably a worldwide top driver right now in sim racing. So here he's holding off McNaughton or Nascimento with Levike. Levike isn't going anywhere. And whoa, Nascimento takes a very wide line. No, Nascimento is sideways. Oh, but he gets it together. That is all because these are front-wheel driven cars, because it looked like Nascimento completely missed his braking point, drifted out wide, and lost control of his car. Pretty much you can say goodbye to both Dweeblar and Levike, because these guys are two pros. They're not going to make that mistake. So Nascimento is the first guy to blink in with BTR Racing. And so now we are left with two, Peter Dweeblar, William Levike. Who is going to win this battle? These guys are going away. I don't see Levike looking for a move until we get past lap 10 to lap 15. So, but you know, I might be wrong, because look at that THR car is looking very menacing behind Dweeblar indeed. So 1 second here as we just 1 second, just making sure to make sure some of the audio I'm hearing some concerns about. Let's make sure everything's okay. Yeah, I'm here with some background noise. We'll try to get that fixed for you, but So far, so far no good. But anyhow, back to the battle here. We have Peter Dweevelay continuing to hold off William Levike. Again, I don't see Levike trying to make a move here until past lap 10. He's going to be very patient. Both these drivers have made a name by being very patient. Let's take a look down the grid, see what we got. And there's Nascimento. Again, he's pretty much in no man's land. He's not close enough to Levike and Dweevelay, and he's still got a nice gap between Emmanuel Godzilla, who's kind of broken free from Gabriel Bechtold, and now Dan Allison. Dan Allison is looking pretty sporty now behind Bechtold. Might want to get that top 5. Let's check on Robert Wiesenmüller, and now he's got Matt Clark behind him. Matt Clark, he started 5th, fell back to 9th, and is now in 8th. He's doing pretty well to make some progress up. There's Darius Swiderski there in 9th. Swiderski, remember, he qualified 11th, so this is still a good driver. This is a driver that makes his name during the race because he's so good in the race. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if he can continue to get up this grid as the race progresses. There is Adrian McNaughton, which has just been a horrendous kind of start for McNaughton. He just has not been able to defend any of his positions. He just continues to go down the field here. Ethan Bass there in 11th with Cameron Andre Bogdan in 12th. Remember, Bogdan fell back to the 13th, but he's made a position somewhere. Let's see who fell back. This is Vinicius Ferreira. Remember, he started 21st, but the young THR driver, oh, who is that? Oh, off the track. That's Reese Gardner, I believe. Dan Allison. Dan Allison has fallen down the grid. Let's see what happened with Dan Allison. Let's see what is going on with Mr. Allison. Let's see if we can rotate here through the grid spots. Allison, I'm trying to figure out, maybe just made a mistake, maybe a bit of contact, but Allison, yeah, he is down to 18th position. Not sure what happened there. Again, probably just maybe a bit of a mistake, maybe a little contact, maybe bumped him off the track. We'll see what we can do if we continue to ride down the field. Here's Reese Gardner, a little gaggle of cars. We have James Johnson, Marlon Lins, and again, Vinicius Ferreira, who's doing very well to get up the grid from 21st position. He's in 12th. He's got a chance at the top 10. Reese Gardner is moving down the grid, down the field, and now he's sliding behind James Johnson. He's sliding behind James Johnson, and we're trying to see. Let me see if I can just rotate through these standings real quick. Yeah, there we go. Reese Gardner, Philip Antonia, Brett Gray, Paul Wood, and going down the line to 24th. It's up at the front, though. Nothing's changed. Dweevelay and William Levike continue the little professional exchange, but so far these guys are continuing to be patient. But let's continue to track the action down here on the midfield. As you can see there, Marlon Lins and Reese Gardner both go wide to kind of synchronize right there. Kind of weird, kind of following one another off the track there. And Vinicius Ferreira, I mean, again, he's really disappointed in qualifying, but this guy has shown the pace through the race. Is now up to 12th. Again, very nice run from him. Continue to go down the field. We have Brett Gray being under pressure from Dan Allison. Dan Allison looks to go through Dan Allison. He's not going to be too patient. Remember, he was running in 6th position before he had that bit of an off moment. We're not sure if it was contact or what, but Dan Allison, he's going to be very impatient to try to get up this grid. Brett Gray there at 18th. Paul Wood there at 19th. He was up to 16th, so Paul Wood is not having a good go of it for the past 5 laps or so. And up at the front, you have William Levike is the guy who is challenging. Yep, sorry, there we go. Levike is now challenging Mr. Peter Dweevelay for the lead. Only a 10th in it. Okay, see, now we're in go time for Levike. Levike sees 10 laps on the board. Levike is a master at conserving his tires. This is probably when he's got a slight advantage on Dweevelay. Dweevelay is going to win this race. He's got to do one of two things. One, he's got to defend like crazy, or he's got to break this toe and then just check out from Levike. He's got a marginal gap here, down to 4/10, but unless he can get a good run here through Victoria, I mean, he's not going to get a further enough a gap to really get away from Levike. We'll see how he gets a runoff here. He's got a nice little traction off that corner, but Levike, I think he's still in that toe, and you're going to see him pull right back up to Dweevelay. Not so fast, he says to the Dutchman. I'm not going away that easily, but he's not really getting into the slipstream, and Dweevelay holds his 3/10 lead on Mr. Levike. We'll see how he does through here, coming off the turn 1, going down the run down through Curva Sul. the longest straight on the track. Levaque's got to make up some time through here, but looks like Dweevila's got a bit of a gap now. If he can go through this midfield section a little better than Levaque, he could really get a sizable lead, not a substantial lead, but something a little bit better than what he's had through the majority of this race. But look at Levaque's run, his line through Curva Sul. That was just unbelievable as he pulls right back up to Dweevila. You're seeing Levaque really cut into these apex, take a healthy helping of that curve, and look, he's going right up to Dweevila. Now that gap is about only a couple of tenths, maybe only a tenth, and he's got a run going in the box. Box is a place you can try an overtake. Let's see if let's see if Levaque takes a look. He does, just kind of dances that nose on the inside of Dweevila, but Dweevila is not having any of it. I mean, if Levaque's going to get through, he's got to make a move, because Dweevila, he's not going to make a mistake. This guy is a consummate pro, and look at Levaque, though. He's going to try to challenge the Dutchman, try to say, hey, I'm here, buddy. Make a move. Okay, make a mistake, but a lot of sim racers, we saw Nascimento make that critical mistake that sent him out of this battle for the lead, but I don't think you're going to see that mistake from Dweevila. Dweevila, he's made his name, he's made his bread by not cracking under pressure. So much of sim racing at this type of level is how you do under pressure. And so far, Dweevila, with 8 laps remaining, he is doing the business. We'll take another ride down the field. You're seeing these guys kind of outside that battle for the lead. The top 5 is now calmed down. You had Neil Nascimento, Emilio Gaxella, Gabriel Bechtold. Obviously, has held off Dan Allison. Dan Allison has taken a brutal slide down the grid. There's Robert Wiesema up to 6th, with Matt Clark still holding on to the German. I'm not sure if Matt Clark is going to be able to get this done, but wait, just as I say that, Wiesema goes wide there at Curva Sul, but he recovered. Matt Clark is right over him right now. I mean, you've got to wonder how long Wiesema can hold off Matt Clark. Remember, Matt Clark qualified 5th, so he probably has the pace over Wiesema in 1 lap. And look, he's taking a slight chance on Dweevila right there. Wiesema rather closes the door, and these guys continue going through box now. And I think Wiesema's got a slight amount of gap. We'll continue to go down the field. There is Adrian McNaughton, who's kind of stopped the bleeding, was down to 10th, is now up to 8th, is going to try to get on this battle with Matt Clark and Robert Wiesema over 6th. He's right there with Jerry Swiderski moving up the grid there in 9th position. Karamidar Andre Bogdan, remember, he fell down to 13th, but he's back up to 10th. He's not going to be too happy with top 10. This is a guy who's pushing for top 5s, but I mean, he was left out that top 10 preseason standing. So listen, put him again in that 10th position here. He'll take that. He'll definitely take that with Ethan Bass there tucked in behind him. Now again, Ethan is still trying to come to grips on some of these games like Game Stock Car and R Factor. Pretty much Game Stock Car is R Factor's brother, but 11th place, Ethan Bass is going to be, he's going to be happy with that. Vinicius Ferreira continues to hold off this battle in midfield and is in 12th. I'm very impressed with what we're seeing from Vinicius. I kind of dogged him in qualifying for not really having that out-and-out THR pace, but he's certainly proven to have his race chops together here in 12th position. He's definitely the faster car out there, Marlon Lins, James Johnson, and Reese Gardner, because he's held these guys off for something like 7-8 laps. So if he can continue to do that, again, he's going to have a nice position here. Has some confidence going to race 2, but ooh, watch that, Marlon Lins. It looks like Vinicius shut the door on him, but Marlon, he's looking very sporty, trying to take this position 12 away from Ferreira, the THR Green driver, with James Johnson right in behind him in 13th or 14th position. Remember, this is the battle from 12th to 15th. We have Reese Gardner there at the tail end of this thing. And now up at the front, look, there was a bit of a mistake by William Levaque. William Levaque has now fallen back behind Peter Dweevila, a 2-second gap. I think Levaque went in for a move. It went kind of awry for Levaque, and now Dweevila's got his gap that he's been searching for. And Levaque's got to watch himself, because Neil Nascimento is not too far behind, only about a second point 2 off Levaque. And very uncharacteristic. I'm ashamed to miss that bit of action there, because Peter Levaque does not really make mistakes, but you can see, look at him, he's a little bit on the ragged edge here. This is so uncharacteristic from the French Canadian, who is the consummate pro when it comes to consistency and getting the best out the car in the latter half of the race. You've got to think now, with 6 laps to go, Peter Duivelaar is going to put this one and sign, seal, and deliver a round 1 victory here at Jacarepagua Curva Sul. So continue to go down the field, because that's where the action's at. Robert Wiesemuller gets a slight gap on Matt Clark, who was really dogging the German only a few laps ago, and now Matt Clark has fallen into the clutches of Adrian McNaughton, and it needs to be said about Adrian, despite his kind of crazy start where he was getting completely destroyed by everybody, as in they were just overtaking him left and right. Adrian McNaughton has stopped the bleeding, got up to 8th, and now he's looking very good, one of the strongest cars on track, you gotta say, at this moment in time, as he's now looking to take this 7th position away from Matt Clark. He's going to have a run here down the straight, leading into Curva Sul. Can he just get in the slipstream? So far, it's not going to work. He needs to get that run, and then maybe try to move on the inside of Curva Sul. Obviously, we've seen a lot of overtakes through Curva Sul, but this is one you're not going to see one just yet. Adrian's going to try to set this one up. Matt Clark's car might be going away from him a little bit. Meanwhile, McNaughton has really come to grips with his car, and look at him get up to Matt Clark's bumper. Remember, Matt Clark, he made some mistakes there to start off the race. Maybe McNaughton can pressurize Clark, and look at him going into the 5th corner on the track, and look, McNaughton just puts his car there saying, hey, brah, okay, if you slip up, I'm going to take your position. Put the pressure on Matt Clark, see if he budges as they go through box. A little sideways. No, that's a solid corner from Matt Clark, but Adrian McNaughton does it better, gets up to him as we go through Victoria. Ooh, it looks like McNaughton had to back out of it a little bit. You can definitely see he's got the stronger of the 2 cars. Maybe it's been better on his tires, which is surprising considering how all over the place McNaughton was to begin this campaign. And look at this. This is a complete intimidation factor. He's too far away to really try a lunge, but he wants to get Matt Clark thinking here. Matt Clark, he might have gone a little too deep. Let's see about McNaughton's runoff, but no, Matt Clark really commits to that corner and gets a bit of a gap there to Adrian McNaughton in 8th position. So let's continue to ride down the grid. Darius Swiderski pretty much content with holding on to 9th place. We have Karamadawa. These guys are calmed down. And here's this midfield battle between Vinicius Ferreira, Marlon Lins, James Johnson, and Reese Gardner. These guys have not really made any positions up on one another. They're just kind of content with staying line to the stern here. Look at this. This is just what this battle needs. Dan Allison enters the fray. He gets around Reese Gardner. Now, he is the faster of these cars, but look at this. Vinicius Ferreira once again under attack by Marlon Lins here. Ken Lins get this move done. So you know in the rearview mirror, Lins is looking at Dan Allison making up all these positions, because Dan Allison, he fell back to 18th, has now slotted into 15th, and probably is faster than all these midfield cars. It's only a matter of time before Allison gets through James Johnson and then can put pressure on Lins and both Ferreira. So what Lins is thinking, he's got to get this move done on Ferreira here and now, get a gap to Dan Allison, and hopefully hold him off for the remaining 3 laps of this event. And look at James Johnson. James Johnson has found an opportunity while Marlon Lins has searched for one on Vinicius Ferreira, and James Johnson gets it done. And look at this. James Johnson is going to have a run now on Vinicius Ferreira going into the 1st corner. Vinicius on the inside, he's got position, but here's James Johnson. He's just going to drive around him on the outside. Oh, no, look, Dan Allison. Whoa, Dan. He was way too far back in the sense James Johnson well off track. James Johnson is not going to be happy about that whatsoever. You can tell, I believe, yeah, that is going to be Marlon Lins now sliding in behind him. Oh, man, let's see if we can take a look on that through replay. Let's see. Yeah, that is Dan Allison is going to go right into Vinicius Ferreira and James Johnson. That's way too far back. And Dan Allison is going to take both these drivers off track. Look at James Johnson go wide. Vinicius Ferreira is like, geez, what are you doing there? And look, Dan Allison, he drives right off track because he is pretty ashamed from that move. You can tell he just lets all the cars go through. And this is back to live action. Vinicius Ferreira and Marlon Lins continue their battle, except Vinicius is now behind Marlon. And ooh, look at that, the hip and shoulder as they get ready to go through box. Vinicius, he's going to want that position back. Did not like how Marlon Lins took the spot from him. Of course, that wasn't Lins' fault, but Vinicius gets it done, gets in front of Marlon Lins, and Reese Gardner takes advantage of Lins kind of going wide down that corner. Got a bit of a hip and shoulder from Vinicius Ferreira, but now Lins takes the spot back from Reese Gardner, and these guys can't seem to really make any type of headway on one another. We have James Johnson, who's rejoined in 15th, not going to be happy because it looked like he was going to head this train, but of course Dan Allison careened into it, and look, might be a bit of damage from James Johnson as he goes wide. And who's that off? That's Marlon Lins. Marlon Lins has made a mistake, has now fallen back to 15th, and Reese Gardner, obviously a bit of contact there. Let's see that on replay, if we can get that up on replay. No, I'm not sure. There we go. Let's go behind them here. No, that is not what we meant to do there. Let's get that back to live action. Here we go back to live action. Sorry, we missed that on replay for you. Let's actually go back to that coverage. And wait, here we have Gabriel Bechtold has caught up finally to Emmanuel Goxella. You've got to wonder if Gabriel's a little better on the tires than Emmanuel, and now he's going to have a look with only 2 laps remaining. Dweebli continues to lead this opening round action at Jacarepagua Curva Sul. But looks like, yeah, wow, Dweebli has actually pulled away from the bike. Meanwhile, Nato Nascimento has maintained that 1 second gap to Levike. Anyhow, we go down the field. Hopefully we can pick up that midfield action once again. And James Johnson up to 13th continues to lead Dan Allison, but obviously that has happened as a result of Marlon Lins and Reese Gardner coming together, continuing to ride down through the field as we have Brett Gray there in 17th. Alexander Rhodes of AGR Motorsport there in 18th. Ray Lilly has fallen back, but he's under attack by Philip Antonia. Antonia is going to try to get this done to turn 1. These guys are side by side. You're going to expect to be very respectful from these 2 veteran racers. Ray Lilly needs a run coming off this corner, and I'm not sure if he's going to get it. These guys are side by side, but I think Lilly has the advantage there. He does. Let's see what Mr. Philip Antonia can do. I think Lilly's got that position done and through. Remember, Lilly started 16th, so whoa. Lilly, not enough commitment through that corner. Antonia completely just strolled up to him there through Curva Sul. And now Lilly, remember, Lilly started on 16th, now down to 19th. Not the direction Lilly has been trying to go, but so far he's got that position on Philip Antonia, so he's going to be happy about that. We have Simon Gardner, also of SimSpeed Racing, down in 22nd. Not the type of race Gardner was looking to have here. Jonathan Okerklin, I think, started on 29th up to 23rd, so solid result from him. Robert Isles there, another ATCC mainstay, in 24th, and I think you got his other Terrace Australia's teammates behind him. Terrace Australia's, it needs to be said, they have not really impressed here in their return to Touring Pro Series, but we'll see how they go for the remainder of the championship. Obviously, maybe they're still getting adjusted to these cars. Paul Wood, Daniel Wood, the 2 brothers, these guys have been in American Touring Car Championship since the beginning. It's really good to see them back out in the TPS scene. You have Mike Bell, the last of the running cars, in 27th, having a lonely race back there, poor Mike. You have Brendan Russo and Chris Sykes, who have DNF out of the race, and Scott Sovic as well. And there's Peter Dweebli, the final lap of the race. Let's ride with Peter Dweebli going across the line. This is your round 1, race 1 winner. Obviously, there's going to be a second race coming up here very shortly, but Peter Dweebli, this guy, he's got his head on straight to win the championship, to really enjoy himself in these minis, and he starts it off right, takes the win. Peter Dweebli, the Dutchman, well done. Obviously, the WTM Season 2 champ, winning the bike, pulls it home in second with Nato Nascimento in third. That is your podium. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Goxella holds off Gabriel Bechtold for 4th. Robert Wiesenmiller takes 6th. Very well done to Wiesenmiller, who didn't really show up in qualifying that well. There is Matt Clark in 8th, holds off Adrian McNaughton in 9th. Karen Madara, Andre Bogdan 10th, Ethan Bass 11th. Let's actually go on board some of these midfield guys. There is Vinicius Ferreira, takes 12th, that well-earned 12th position for him as we get more of the midfielders going across the stripe here. We have Dan Allison recovers for 14th after dropping back to 18th. Marlon Lins 15th, Reese Gardner 16th, Alexander Rhodes on 17th, Brett Gray 18th, Ray Lilly 19th. And going down the field, we have Philip Antonio 20th, Davey Vanderven 21st, Simon Gardner 22nd, Jonathan Okerklin 23rd, Robert Isles 24th, and I'm a bit lost there. Here we go. Robert Isles 24th, and I believe, who are we at right now? I think that's the last of our, let's see, Daniel Wood there. Paul and Daniel Wood 25th and 26th, Mike Bell 27th, and that will round off the running order here. Obviously 30 cars started, 27 finished. That's a pretty good attrition rate, especially for a round one event. And we are going to reset here in a moment as we're going to get to qualifying, the second qualifying, another 10-minute session. So reset, let me take a breather, and we will get going right after this word from our sponsors.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
With round one at hand, Virtual Mini Challenge is already abuzz with excitement. VCS Season 2 champ William the Vike is primed for another title run, but rival Ryan Collin will try to undo the French-Canadian success. THR once again field a strong lineup and look ready to win the Constructors' Cup, but return of Terra Australis Racing and newly formed Sim Speed Racing look to play spoils at Jacarepagua. Virtual Mini Challenge, round one, tonight.
All right, and that was, of course, the round one trailer. Obviously, Ryan Collin hasn't been here, and William the Vike has been shoved aside by Peter Dweevelar through that first race of the season. So maybe Peter Dweevelar was the guy we should have given a little bit more coverage to. But anyhow, we're about to start qualifying two here for the second race of our doubleheader tonight. Each race in Virtual Mini Challenge does consist of two races, so this is the norm. The cars are now flooding the track. Let's see if we can ride on board with some of our leaders. There's Peter Dweevelar, who's actually, I believe that's the first car out the pit lane, so we'll just stay on board with him. Obviously, he was a race one winner and pole sitter, so expect maybe Dweevelar to get a double win. Dweevelar, I don't think he's, believe it or not, he's never got a double win in TouringProSeries before, and a little, sorry about that, we were on the background. Now, here we are picking it up with Dweevelar as he goes through Curva Sul. Dweevelar, again, he's never gotten a double win in TPS, despite having driven in WTM. Actually won that championship while only winning 2 races on the season, which is unheard of nowadays in TPS. So to see him win the first round of a championship is a very good omen for Peter, and a terrible thing indeed for his competitors, because this guy, there aren't many better than him in the business, especially in a touring car. I mean, talking to him before the race, he said he's not too comfortable in front-wheel driven cars, but he's made it look pretty easy as he's out-driven the front-wheel drive master in William the Vike. And sorry for that little bit of glitch there, as Peter Dweevelar is about to pick up his lap as he gets through Victoria, the final corner on the track. Wants to get a nice run out of here, hugs the apex tight as he goes through the start-finish straight. to start out his first flying lap. You've got to think he's in the groove. He ran a 23.8 in the race. I mean, under race conditions, he was pulling quality laps. So another guy to watch out is Nato Nascimento, who ran the fastest lap in the race, a 23, I believe, 7.7 or something like in that range. So these guys are the two guys that are going to be looking for this pole. Obviously, William Levike, who's ran a 23.7, is going to need to really dig down deep to get in front of Dweebler. Because the only way I think William wins his second race if he starts in front of this man right here. Because Dweebler, you saw him just clinically close out race 1, and here's Dweebler going through Curva Sul, a nice line, really commits to it, going through turn 3, that is. Look at that, runs it right to the edge of the road here before getting into Moretti, turn 4, as he sends it up now to turn 5, looking very strong indeed here. Of course, we don't have a benchmark, this being the first flying lap of the session, and so here Dweebler again committing to that corner as we go down to box, the 6th corner on the track, pretty much a 100-degree corner, lots of commitment through here, 3rd a gear corner, maybe even 4th depending on who you are, and of course here is Victoria, a very tight corner, but most drivers are taking this one in 3rd, and lots of commitment, a little too much commitment. I'm not sure about that line from Dweebler, completely runs it out to the edge. We'll see if that was what the Dutchman was looking for as he goes across the finish stripe. He needs a 23.4 pole, and no, actually, you know what? That wasn't a time lap. Actually, no, it was a time lap. 25 flat for Dweebler, so maybe he's just getting the tires warmed up. Who is on form and on pole right now? Actually, no one's really putting in a good lap. Levike is on provisional pole, but you're seeing that at the bottom of your screen, a 24.3 is the best Levike can come up with. Dan Allison slots in behind them with a 24.4. So the drivers, I guess they have to recalibrate for the quality setups here. Maybe these guys weren't pushing. I mean, because obviously at the end of a race, the tires are going off a little bit. You forget really how the car works under quality conditions, how you've got to be on that ragged edge to really get the top times. Matt Clark goes to pole, provisional pole, but Peter Dweebler is looking very sharp so far. Has the session best in Sector 1, but we're going to stay on board with William Levike, who has run the fastest times in practice, the week of practice anyway, and in practice leading up to this event. So far, we haven't seen 23.7 outside of Levike's time in pre-practice. So he's about 10th down on Matt Clark's time, so he might not be able to get the pole time here. 6 minutes on the clock. These guys want to get cracking sooner rather than later here. Levike goes through Victoria much better than Dweebler did, and let's see if he can pip Matt Clark for pole. But no, Dweebler goes to pole position, provisional pole with a 23.9, putting Levike down 24.3. But Levike, he kind of takes a while to really get going with the quality pace, so it's what he's been known for. Ray Lilly up to 7th. He's going to be very happy about that. Let's see if he can hold off some of the drivers behind him as Reese Gardner, Philip Antonio, Brett Gray, Paul Wood up to 12th, James Johnson 13th, Davey Vanderveen 14th, Alexander Rhodes 15th, and Simon Gardner holds on to 16th. Robert Wiesenmuller has shot up to 4th position, but I'm not sure. A little bit of trouble with the cameras there. Trying to get you back up to the front, do this the old-fashioned way. Scroll through the list. There's Robert Wiesenmuller up to 4th. Is on a personal best in Sector 2. He's going through Sector 3, Victoria, and now he's got a car in front of him. Not sure who that is, but Nato Nascimento goes up to 3rd. Remember, Nascimento, one of the picks for pole here in race 2, ran the fastest time in race 1, and Robert Wiesenmuller jumps over Nascimento to get to 3rd. Matt Clark holds on to 2nd position. Less than 5 minutes remaining here, and so far, not the real heavy. We saw faster times in race pace, so these guys are still trying to kind of get the grips with this quality set, but Wiesenmuller, a bit of trouble here. Got a slower car stuck in front, trying to find out who that is, but whoever it was, they pulled off to the side very smartly, let Wiesenmuller go through. William Levike up to 3rd place. Karamadawa Andre Bogdan jumps up to 12th. Nato Nascimento is on a personal best, but not by much through Sector 1. Dan Allison, James Johnson, Ray Lilly holds on to 10th position so far, so he's going to be hoping and praying he can stay there. Robert Wiesenmuller not going to improve there as he's 2/10 off or down on Dweebler's time. Let's ride on board with William Levike as he goes through Curva Sul. Really commits to this one, takes one of the smoother lines through this corner, and he needs to come up with the goods through Sector 1 because he's having trouble really hooking up this sector. all week pretty much, but he's about a half a tenth down on Dweevar's pole time. Matt Clark is still sitting in second place, so if Matt Clark can start there, he's just going to be through the moon right now. Of course, Levike, Nascimento, Adrian McNaughton are going to have something to say about that. There's some contending drivers. Gabriel Bechtold is down in 13th. What is going on with Bechtold? He's got to get it together. And here we go. Levike is now down on Dweevar's time by a tenth through Sector 2. Remember, Levike is very good through Sector 3. We'll see if he can come away with pole time here. Going through Victoria. Let's see if he can commit to this one. Emmanuel Godzella goes up to second place with a 24 flat, slots in behind Dweevar, and here's Levike goes wide, wheels on the grass there, coming out of Victoria, going through the start-finish straight. Levike, what has he got? He's got the pole time, 23.862. That's going to beat Dweevar's time by about 400th of a second. Well done by Levike. Now puts the pressure on Peter Dweevar, and here's Dweevar going through Victoria. Is not on a personal best at any point during this lap, so this does not look like it's going to pit Levike for pole, but we'll see what Dweevar can come away with. Looks like he's going to go for another lap, and yeah, that's not going to be good enough. We'll return to Dweevar a little later on in his run. Here we have Emmanuel Godzella down in third place, but I don't think he's got a good enough time there to really make any headway. Here's Nato Nascimento, just started a new lap. He's going up towards Curva Sul. Maybe if he can get in this draft of that car in front, he can get the type of run he needs to challenge for that pole position. But so far, only two drivers in the 23s at the moment. Nascimento was one that hit a 23.8 in the race itself. So this is a guy who can find the goods to get pole position, but he's got to put it together. Meanwhile, Dweevar does take the personal best through Sector 1. But remember, that's actually down on his it's actually down on, actually no, I'm sorry, that is a personal best for Dweevar through Sector 1. We'll see what he can come up with through Sector 2. Robert Wiesenmuller through Sector 1 looks very fast indeed as well. We'll track Wiesenmuller right after Dweevar finishes his lap. As no, Dweevar is down, so let's jump right on board with Wiesenmuller, see what Wiesenmuller can come away with. Remember, Robert, he's the guy, I talked to him, it was at one point he was going to be the man on commentary duties for the night, but he said, Danny, please, I need you to do commentary. I really want to race tomorrow night. So that's how things got set up. But Wiesenmuller lets it go through Sector 2, and now I don't think he's going to be able to jump Levike, but this could put him closer up at the front because they're only a tenth and a half down. And there's Emmanuel Godzella. So we'll finish Robert Wiesenmuller, then we'll just shoot it down to Emmanuel, see what he can come up with. The reigning RD stock car champion. But here's Robert Wiesenmuller. Can he improve from 6th position? Yes, he's down to 4th place, and with only a minute left, that might be good enough for Wiesenmuller. Let's find Emmanuel, see what he's got as he goes to boxing now. Emmanuel, he's blown Sector 2. Looks like William has really done the business through Sector 2 because every car seems to be trailing the French Canadian through Sector 2. Only 50 seconds left. Emmanuel will have another run at a lap here. We'll see if he can improve, maybe jump Dweevar. And there's Nato Nascimento. We've called it. And Gabriel Bechtold. They both go faster than Levike in Sector 1, but Levike just seems to be pretty weak through Sector 1. And maybe these guys have a chance to go get him. We'll see how Robert Wiesenmuller again, he's looking sporty, but let's go with Nascimento, as Nascimento is close to the finish of his lap as he gets to box a car in front, but that's not really going to play into contention for Nato Nascimento. Nascimento blows it through the second sector, so does Gabriel Bechtold, but Gabriel is on a personal best. Gabriel could get back up into that top 5, but let's go with on board Robert Wiesenmuller. And again, it looks like Levike just too strong through the second sector. I think those are all the drivers that had a chance to go and challenge Levike's pole time. Matt Clark not going to do it. Nascimento not going to do it. We go Robert Wiesenmuller. Gabriel Bechtold does it. I'm sorry we missed it, but Gabriel Bechtold to pole position. The man, the superstar sim racer of Brazil, does the business. Finally, we see a 23.7 in quality conditions. Gabriel Bechtold, a guy who finished race 1 in position 5, or position 4 was it, is now the pole man. I don't think anyone's going to beat him. Levike, let's see where Levike is on the lap, but Levike, he is down. What is this? I believe that's through Sector 1. We'll see what Levike can do through Sector 2. I think this is the only guy who's got a chance to beat Gabriel Bechtold's pole time. We'll see how Levike can do through this third and final sector. One of the fastest drivers, maybe the fastest driver through sectors 2 and 3. We'll see what the sector time comes up with for Levike. It's not going to do it. remember Gabriel, he was absolutely on form through that third sector. I don't think Levite's going to be close enough. Already about 2.5 tenths down on Bechtold's time. Karamadaru, Andre Bogdan is sharp to 11th. James Johnson on 12th. But here we go with Levite. We'll see what we can do here. Levite, I don't think that's going to do it. No, Levite is not going to do it, and he holds on to second position. We'll see. I think that's pretty much it for the quali session. We'll just take a run through the grid. Peter Dweebler down in third position. He's not going to be happy with that, but he's not going to be too upset by that either. A guy like Dweebler can race from that position. Here's Jared Swiderski there on 15th. About half a second off through sector 1 on the leading times. I think James Johnson might be actually on the track as well. No, that's just Swiderski. See if anyone else. Now we'll ride on board with Swiderski, see how he does. Remember, he started race 1 in 11th position, so 15th he's down. He's missing some of that speed, and he cannot come up with it. Just exits out of his lap. And that's going to conclude our qualifying session here. Let me take you through the grid. Gabriel Bechtold on pole position as we 5-minute warm-up session. Once again, Wayne Levite on second place. Peter Dweebler third. Amaya Goxella in fourth. Nato Nascimento fifth. Robert Riesemiller sixth. Matt Clark in seventh. Adrian McNaughton eighth. Dan Allison on ninth. Dan, remember, he had a completely bad moment where he fell down the grid in race 1, so he's hoping to avoid that type of mistake in race 2. Reese Gardner there in 10th. Nice result from Reese, who started, I believe, 12th in race 1. There is Karamadaru Andre Bogdan in 11th. James Johnson 12th. Vinicius Ferreira 13th. Vinicius doing very well to not repeat his qualifying woes in race 1 where he started 21st. So Vinicius, if he can start 13th, because remember he finished 12th after starting 21st, so he might be looking at a top 10 here. But Marlon Linz in 15th, 14th, right? Darius Wojcicki 16th. Ray Lilly repeats his qualifying effort from race 1, gets 16th. We're going to have Robert Isles 17th, Philip Antonio 18th, Ahab Ibas in 19th, and Ahab, I'm not sure where he started in race 1. Ethan Bass in 20th, Alexander Rhodes 21st, Brett Gray 22nd, Scott Sovic in 23rd, Brandon Russo in 24th, Paul Wood followed by Davey Vandeveen, and Davey just completely mucked up his pace kind of today because he was very quick through live races. I'm kind of curious what happened to Davey. Obviously, there was a bit of controversy surrounding his teammate Andy Vandeveld. I'm sorry if I'm actually got the thing the wrong first name, but Vandeveld is his teammate. Had a bit of a weird moment at Curitiba where he went after a competing driver and knocked him off track with purpose. So obviously Vandeveld has been suspended for this first race of the season. Maybe that's gotten to Vandeveen a little bit as he's down in 26th. Daniel Wood in 27th. Simon Gardner 28th. Mike Bell 29th. Jonathan Okercliffe rounds out our 30-car field in 30th. And so again, these guys are going to try to reacclimate themselves with the race setups here. Again, probably the favorite going into this race. I mean, listen, when we talked about William Levite's need to get in front of Peter Dweebler, and he's done that, so one mission accomplished. The problem is he's got a very strong driver in Gabriel Bechtold now on pole position. It's going to be interesting to see how that top 3 really goes at one another, because that was how, and you see actually William Levite practicing his starts. A bit of a mixed bag race 1 start was, because at first you see William Levite took the lead, then Dweebler was shuffled down to 3rd place as Nascimento entered the fray, and then all of a sudden Peter Dweebler goes on a run to retake the lead, and he drove away with it after that. So William Levite is going to try to take the lead again, but this time try a little better to hold on to it as the race progresses. So interesting to see him practicing the starts already like that. Here's Gabriel Bechtold, who fell back to start off race 1, but came on really strong. Was actually one of the faster drivers on track, so he was really comfortable with the tires as they start to wear off. He's going to be very difficult to deal with now, the lead this race. It's going to be interesting to see how Levite and Dweebler handle this new competition who is going to be in play for the race win. Nato Nascimento, going to be interesting to see how he does. Remember, Nascimento started, I believe, race 1 off in 4th and got up to 2nd. And Gabriel, a bit of an odd moment there, is he kind of loses it. I'm not sure if he hit the wall there or what, but let's ride on board with someone else there, Paul. What you've seen drivers are just practicing their starts here. Very important part of the race here, because obviously it's hard to make up ground in these minis by just completely driving past everybody. The starts are probably one of the most, a little bit more important in this type of racing than they are in other forms of racing. Maybe when you have a rear-wheel driven, high-powered cars where pretty much lap pace is the order of business, how it works at that level. But anyhow, these guys just starting to work on their starts here. Ray Lilly, I'm going to be very happy with his pace here. A nice, solid midfielder. I talked to Ray, like I said, before the race, a little bit down on how he's never able to really transfer any of his type of improvement to the quality sessions. And he wants so desperately to be a midfield runner, but unfortunately he's admitted that he's just a back of the grid guy. So it's nice to see him get up to 16th in the race here today to start it off. And maybe he can carry that forward as the season progresses. There's Caramel Andre Bogdan, once again practicing his starts. He finished race 1 in 9th position. This guy actually took a pole position at Lime Rock Park in the last virtual Clio Series race. So he's got a lot of confidence, that driver. So anyhow, we are done with warm-up session. We're about to load up to the race. Let's get right on board with our leader, Gabriel Bechtold. Remember, this is just formation lap again, and then they're going to reset it, and about 3 minutes to get around, 3 to 4 minutes to get around the pace lap here. Just very quickly, remember last race, race strategy, it didn't really play in the. We didn't think tires were going to matter too much come into play, and they certainly didn't. But you do have to wonder what happened to William Levike with Peter Dweebelaar. He ran into a mistake, but not only that, but after that bit of an off moment from Levike, Dweebelaar pulled away from Levike, showing that, hey, I've got as much tire preservation skills as you, maybe even more. And so it's going to be interesting to see how Levike deals with somebody that might be as good at tire conservation as he is. So as you can see, the field is swerving back and forth, warming up those aforementioned tires. Just to run you through the grid very quickly, Gabriel Bechtold, I mean, just the top guy, so we know who's at the front. We have Gabriel Bechtold there in 11th, or first rather, William Levike in 2nd, Peter Dweebelaar holding on to 3rd place, Emmanuel Goxella there in 4th, with Nato Nascimento now in 5th. Remember, Nato was probably the strongest driver to start off race 1, fell away after maybe I don't want to say it was too big of a moment for the Brazilian, but obviously he made just a blunder while in a battle with Levike and Dweebelaar for the win. Hopefully he can avoid that mistake, and maybe he can get back up there and fight for the race win. Matt Clark there in 7th. Adrian McNaughton, who just went around the world in race 1, completely fell back, and only to resurge through the field and finish inside the top 8. We got Dan Allison, another guy who had just all over the place type of performance, and Dan there in 9th. But where is just a bit of lag there, I'm assuming, but we have Dan Allison pretty much by himself there in 9th, wondering what is going on here. Maybe there's a bit of a gap. You definitely want to get that out the way. Actually, I'm getting a report that Dan actually spun during a formation. He's allowed to retake a position, but I'm afraid it might be a little too late, because if he spun, he's already down behind the whole field. And you see Reese Gardner, who's behind Dan, is already on this. Is about to grid up his car. So I'll be curious. Let's see if Dan Allison tries to make his way through the grid to retake his spot. You're allowed to do that, but you've got to be very cautious about this type of thing. Yeah, he's going to get a spot back, I'm hearing. So we're about to see him in the background. No, I don't see him. Let's actually, where is Mr. Allison? He's going into the pit straight, and he's going to pull up the track. I'm not sure what this is about. Maybe Dan is not certain on the rules. But anyway, we're going to ride up with the leader. Let's get to Bechtold. He's about to take the lights here for the 2nd race of the 1st round at Jacarepagua Curva Sul. Remember, Peter Dweebelaar won race 1, and now he's looking prime in 3rd position to do the double one, his first in TPS history. We have Bechtold as he's about to take the lights. Here we go. The lights are on, and they are about to go out to start off this second race of the championship. These guys, there it is, and Bechtold, he gets a solid start. William Levite does not gain any time on him like he did with Dweevelar in the first race. Dweevelar slots in behind Levite, and now they go into the first turn. But Dweevelar's under pressure there, but I believe that's Emmanuel Gagzella there, and he's done it. Emmanuel gets around Peter Dweevelar for that third position. That is not what Dweevelar wants. If he wants to do this double one, he's got to get to Levite and Bechtold, and he's got to do it quick. Yeah, and Dan Allison did a full stop there, and so maybe he's starting from the pit lane. Not sure what that's about. Hopefully we get more information on that a little bit later. But so far at the front, Gabriel Bechtold has done the business, has gotten away like a pro here. No type of shenanigans whatsoever. This is very impressive. Maybe he can now pull away from Levite. Remember, Levite did not seem too strong against Dweevelar. Once he got away from that slipstream, we'll see if Bechtold can do the same to the French Canadian. In behind here, here's Emmanuel Gagzella, gets around Peter Dweevelar for that third position. And Dweevelar, it's going to be interesting because Dweevelar knows. Well, look up at the front. Looks like Levite is not wasting any time as they're about to head in the box, and Levite has got the overlap on Bechtold, the Brazilian, and he sticks the move in the box. That's a hard place to make an overtake, but Levite makes it look easy, and now they go into Victoria. Levite into the lead, trying to lead his first lap in Virtual Mini Challenge Season 1. And I think he's going to do it. That's tighten up the field a little bit. Now you've got Emmanuel Gagzella right in behind Bechtold. You had Dweevelar right in behind Gagzella, and Robert Wiesenmiller has made his way up to 5th place. I think he's starting in 8th position, and Bechtold is going to try right back, and look at that, it's Emmanuel. He goes for the move, and Levite gives him a little hip and shoulder. That's touring car racing for you. Levite can't hit the wall there. Ooh, he's got to watch it. Oh my God, squeezed that, and here comes Dweevelar. Dweevelar's got to get around Levite, and I think he knows it right here. And look at this, we might have 3 wide. Does Dweevelar go for a move? But no, Levite is going to get the move done, going in the Curva Sul. And whoa, Emmanuel's got to watch himself. He could get freight trained here as he got a little bit of hip and shoulder right back from Levite. And look at Gagzella back behind Dweevelar, and that's exactly what Peter Dweevelar needed. You see these drivers going for it all, and look at Dweevelar. He hasn't gone for a single move, but he's up to 3rd place. That's why this guy is a championship contender and one of the best drivers in sim racing at the moment. But look at him. He's actually looking pretty sporty here behind William Levite. But oh, look, same spot there is Gabriel Bechtold that's going wide there, coming off at turn 5. That allowed Levite to have a look on him the previous lap. But look at Wiesenmiller. Nascimento moves down a spot. And now, yeah, Dweevelar, he's broken the toe, I think, a little bit from Gagzella. And here's Wiesenmiller. I would like to track that a little bit. Wiesenmiller looking very menacing there behind Bechtold or Gagzella there. He's going to have a chance if he can get a good run out of turn 1 on the front straightaway. Wiesenmiller is going to try to get up inside that top 4. Emmanuel, just an up and down start from him. He moved in front of Dweevelar, is now falling back down to 4th. And Dweevelar is sliding behind Levite, and I'm actually trying to see what's going on between Dweevelar and Levite. But look at this. It is a crafty move by Neo Nascimento, catching Robert Wiesenmiller sleeping at the wheel, and he takes 5th position. Let me ride back on board with those leaders, see what's going on with Peter Dweevelar and Levite. No, Levite has held off Peter Dweevelar for that 3rd position. Well, look at Levite. Levite makes another mistake through Curva Sul. He's complained about that corner all week. Says he cannot get together, and Dweevelar goes through. Again, Dweevelar is not going for a single move, but he's up to 2nd position. That is the heart of a champion right there. But look at Emmanuel Gagzella. He's trying to get right around the Dutchman, puts a little bit of that front panel on Dweevelar's rear, but Dweevelar's not giving it up right there. Dweevelar's got to break away from this track, and he's got to do it right now. Meanwhile, you've got Nano Nascimento still leading Robert Wiesenmiller, Matt Clark there in 7th, Adrian McNaughton 8th, Reese Garner up to 9th, Darius Wadersky in 10th, and a little bit of a weird hop there, but that was just a simple lag by Gabriel Bechtold. Nothing worth a note there. Dweevelar's got to break that toe. He needs Levite to really unsettle Gagzella there, so hopefully Dweevelar can get out that slipstream and then get to work and chase it down Gabriel Bechtold. And look at that battle right in behind him, though. You've got Nascimento, who's trying desperately to hold off Robert Wiesenmiller. Wiesenmiller going to try the outside, and he did this in race 1. Oh, little contact there. And see, this is what I was about to point out. Wiesenmiller tried this move in race 1, and then he got pipped by Dan Allison. But this time, Matt Clark is looking to do the move on Wiesenmiller and take that spot. Meanwhile, William Levite is under a little bit of pressure. He's got to make that move on Emmanuel in front while holding off this little train of Nato Nascimento, Robert Wiesenmiller, and Matt Clark. And look at this. Robert Wiesema continues to look menacing in behind Nato Nascimento, trying to take that 5th place back. Oh no, no, a spin now by Nato Nascimento. He's going to fall. He's going to plummet down the grid. I believe maybe a bit of contact by Wiesema, or maybe he just completely lost it coming out of Curva Sul. But either way, Nato Nascimento is falling down the grid. Where is he going to stop there? Nascimento down to 22nd. Oh my, does he have any damage? I think he avoided the wall for the most part, but I'm not sure there. Let's see if we can get back on board with the leaders there. Looking to try to get back with the leaders, and yet here's Bechtold still in front. Peter Duila has gotten a bit of a gap as William Levite does the move on Emmanuel Gaxella after all that drama with Nato Nascimento. So now Duila, he's in a good position, and there we go. Duila is going to try now get to work on going after Bechtold for that P1, and Gaxella is going to try to go over Levite. Whoa, whoa, whoa! You're seeing Gaxella go goes over the grass in turn 1, and how Wiesema got around. Obviously, Nato Nascimento has now got around. Gaxella is into 4th position. Robert Wiesema making a play now. We'll see how that develops. As now you've got, well, let's go a little further down the grid. Godzilla's going to try now hold off Matt Clark. Matt Clark's going to look for a bit of an opening. We have Adrian McNaughton in 7th. And look at Reese Gardner. Not the best qualifying from him, but he's in 8th. He's going to be he's a very sneaky driver. He gets up the field when you don't notice. And Reese Gardner is going to now try to look to maybe even get inside that top 6, that top 5. Because these guys in those positions are really battling tooth and nail for it. Look at those cars. We'll actually continue to stay on board with that as Godzilla is under siege from Matt Clark, but he's still trying to not let Wiesema get away. And Levite, he's really, this is his time to check out from Wiesema, because he can't let these cars behind him of Wiesema, Godzilla, and Matt Clark really get to him again, because if that happens, Dweevelar and Bechtold, they're gone. So far, that gap between Dweevelar and Bechtold is 1.1 seconds. We'll see if that comes down at all in the remaining laps. Look, Gabriel Bechtold is not, look at 24.3. That's not going to be good enough to hold off Dweevelar, who can put on 23.8 at race pace. And that gap has already come down, so Dweevelar looks the faster of the 2 cars. We'll see if Levite can get to Dweevelar and then maybe rejoin a battle for the lead. Now, going down the grid again, we have, here's Darius Radersky up from 15th, so very nice job from him indeed. Darius Radersky has always made his name with racing. I mean, during the races. Qualifying has been a struggle for him recently, but here's Marlon Lenz under pressure by Karamadar, Andre Bogdan. We've seen a lot of drivers make mistakes through Curva Sul, easily the most difficult track corner on the track due to the speed level going into the entry is absolutely ridiculous. You have to have a ridiculous commitment level to really go fast around that corner, and messing it up is very easy indeed. James Johnson there in 12th. He's going to try to get, maybe have a run inside the top 10. Race 1 didn't go his way after being hit by Dan Allison. We'll see how he can recover from there. We have Ethan Bays up to 13th with Ahab Ibas in 14th. And here we have the Terrace Australis racing drivers kind of going, whoa, 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 what are they doing there, boys? Calm down. You guys are getting paid by the same people, or rather you fly the same banner there. So these guys got to sort that out. Robert Isles and Paul Wood, these guys, both Australians, and they've been driving together for a long time, so we'll, don't know what that's about. There's Vinicius Ferreira. I believe, where is he running? There's in 17th. Vinicius, I remember, he came up about 9 spots in race 1 from 21st to 12th, and now he's falling back from 13th to 11th. Don't know what that's about. Another car off in the background. Looks like Daniel Wood ran into a bit of trouble, and let's actually ride on board those guys here. Here's Nato Nascimento trying to make his way through the field as he's got Alexander Rhodes in front of him. Alexander with Vinicius Ferreira in front of him, but Nato Nascimento is not going to be too patient when it comes to getting around those two. Update at the front. Peter Dweevelar is only half a second down, but Robert Wiesema, it looks like Wayne Levite has incurred some type of trouble. We'll actually pick up on that one. 1 second. Looks like Levite has fallen down in 9th position. Wait, look at this. Terrace Australis. What is going on, guys? What is going on? Let's take a replay of that, actually, to see in closer detail. We have, who is this? I believe this is Brett Gray. Brett Gray is going to try a move here, and it looks like completely doesn't come off. A car leans into him here, hits the barrier in Curva Sul, and then his teammate, I believe Daniel Wood, comes behind him and just finished the deal. Looks, oh, that's a terrible crash. Lost a wheel in that one. That's That's just a shame. This is live action. And so Brett Gray is retired from the race. So now let's try to pick up with that action at the front. Obviously, William LeVike has fallen down to 9th. And I'm not sure what happened there. We missed the replay, of course. Robert Wiesema has taken over 3rd position. Let's see where LeVike is. Any damage on that car? Let's maybe see if we can take a bit of a closer look at what's going on with that car. Let's take a look. No, it doesn't seem like much damage. Maybe he just made a simple mistake. Very uncharacteristic from LeVike. I'm sorry to say we don't know what happened there, but in race 1 he had a bit of a trouble, and here we go on Reese Gardner going to try to make a move, and Peter Dweevler, meanwhile, has taken over the lead, has made a move on Gabriel Bechtold. Let me see if we can get to that and get a replay to show you what exactly happened there. Just took the lead here, and unfortunately, no, we do not have a replay for you. Peter Dweevler, whatever the case, has taken the lead from Gabriel Bechtold, the Brazilian superstar, a sim racer, and Peter Dweevler is going to try to do that double one. But look at that, you've got Robert Wiesema in 3rd position. I knew Robert was really keen on this race today, likes the track, and he's really showing his chops here in race 2. He has done a lot of practice, a lot of improving, a lot of training to get up to this world-class level you got to be at the front end of these TPS fields nowadays. So Peter Dweevler has taken the lead on Gabriel Bechtold, and you got to wonder if Dweevler breaks that toe of Bechtold, he might. Didn't mean to rhyme there, but if he breaks the toe there, Dweevler might check out like he did against LeVike in race 1. So going down the field, we have Emmanuel Gonzalez with under pressure from Matt Clark, who's steadily made his way up from 9th position. Matt Clark remember he qualified race 1 in 5th. So Matt Clark has got the pace to do it. Let's ride on board with Clark, see if he's going to try to make a move. Going into Curva Sul. Whoa, I'm not sure why he didn't duck his car right there. He had the run on Emmanuel Gonzalez, but he backs out of it. Interesting move there by Matt Clark. Maybe Emmanuel has shown a bit of inconsistency, and maybe Matt Clark is waiting for a mistake rather than trying to force issue with the move. Whatever the case, Matt Clark is looking very strong, but he's got to watch himself because Adrian McNaughton, up from 8th place, is now sliding behind these two. And remember, Adrian, this is a guy who will try to go for a move whenever he sees an opening. So Matt Clark's got to watch himself. Going down the grid, Darius Radersky now up to 7th. So obviously Reese Gardner, obviously Reese was overtaken by this man here, William LeVike. LeVike is going to be desperately trying to get up the grid because this is a guy with a mind for the championship. I mean, if this guy can obviously, he's in a bit of a situation where he might have to work some of these events. But he's got a job now. He might not be able to make the whole season, but if this guy does make the whole season, he's got a mind for the championship. So he's going to try and make up as many points as possible and get up this grid here. Cameron Down, Ajay Bogdan, they're in 10th rather, finished 9th in race 1. And behind him, there is this is James Johnson trying for a move on Marlon Lins here as he goes into turn 1, and that's very well done by James Johnson. Just get it slowed down, James. Whoa, Marlon does not want to give up that position easy as they go on to start, finish straight. Marlon has got the run. James Johnson might not be too happy about it because he definitely had the overlap. I'm not sure if Marlon's a bit of a rough stuff there. Nothing too severe. That's simply touring car racing. But James, he's going to try to get back around Marlins. I think he was the fastest car in race 1 rather, and looks to be the same case in race 2. James, he's going to try to get this move done into turn. I guess the next a place to do it is box corner maybe. We've seen a few overtakes around there tonight. James Johnson's going to try to hold on here to Marlon Lins. But I just report here, Bechtold has kept up with Dweevler, and yet the gap is only a 10th of a second here, so let's ride on board with that. Here we go, Dweevler and Bechtold for the lead. Reese and Miller continues to lurk in behind these guys, but yet this is what we talked about. Dweevler, he needs to break the toe because the toe is such a prevalent factor in these Mini Coopers, and Bechtold, he's holding on to Dweevler. Maybe if he can just keep those tires under him, he's going to be able to have a look here. We'll see what kind of toe he's getting off the run out of turn 1. Two very different lines here. Dweevler hugs that apex very early on. Meanwhile, Bechtold does the late apex as he drifts around that corner. We'll see what the run is down to Curva Sul, but so far Dweevler has pushed that gap up to 0.3 of a second. Again, remember, in race 1, it took Dweevler until about lap 14, lap 15 to break the toe of William LeVike. And speaking of LeVike, LeVike is up to 5th, and we'll see how Peter Dweevler handles Bechtold behind him. And another report here, we have Adrian McNaughton and incident between, David Clark, Matt Clark rather, have come together and sent these two both down grid. Now this is very disappointing here. We talked about a few laps earlier, McNaughton was going to go for a look on Matt Clark. Now obviously we don't know exactly what happened. Let's see if we have some type of replay here. I think this is after the fact. Yeah, that is after the fact. So unfortunately for Matt Clark, he's again falling down the grid. And look at that, James Johnson, I believe. Let's run on board James Johnson. He's trying to get a move done for a box. Yeah, let's see if he's going to have a look against Marlon Lynch. He's going to be very physical here after Marlon Lynch physically defended his position in turn 1 on only the previous lap. Meanwhile, the battle at the front continues to get intense, but we'll stick with this one at the moment as James Johnson tries to go through to ninth, because obviously McNaughton and Matt Clark have fallen behind this pair, so James Johnson is now on for a top 10 result. He's going to have a look through turn 1 like he did a few laps ago. Let's see if he leaves it on the brakes. He leaves it late, James Johnson. Now he just needs to get some traction coming out of here. Let's see what he can do. Trying to get a better view of this. Trying to jump back to, there we go, broadcast view. And James Johnson does get that move done. Very well done by James Johnson. You've got to think he's going to try to catch up to Karamadawa Andre Bogdan, who's about a second and a half up the road. We'll see how that develops as the race continues. But moving down the grid, there's McNaughton, there's Clark. Unfortunately, those guys came together. Ethan Bays up to 13th. Voss up there in 14th. Paul Wood 15th. Pretty much the surviving member of Terrace Australia's Racing. Well, there's Robert Isles behind him with, who is that? There he is, Ray Lilly. Ray Lilly has held on to that position. And right now, it looks like Ray Lilly obviously dropped back in race 1. Has not done that here in race 2. And now I'm getting a little bit of a report here on Matt Clark. There seems to be a little damage on that car. Maybe it was Adrian McNaughton that did careen into him. But again, that's only speculations. We won't know until after the race. Maybe the stewards will have a look at that one. But Ray Lilly's looking sharp there in 17th position. Philip Antonia with Alexander Rhodes going off track in there behind. And that is going to be Scott Sovic up to 20th. Sovic hasn't really done the business in quality, but 20th position, that's going to be solid. I think that's going to put him in the points. Vinicius Ferreira, now this is just, this is a head scratcher, because Vinicius, remember, in race 1 qualified 21st, made up to 12th by the race 1 end. This time he qualifies 13th, close enough to 12th, and then now he's falling back to 20th, so 21st rather. So very interesting stuff. Ooh, and that's going to be a little contact. You know Scott's not going to like that, but like a gentleman, Mr. Vinicius Ferreira gives the position back, and the two carry on. There's Daniel Wood. He was caught up in that incident with his teammate Brett Gray not too long ago, as the two Terrace Australian motorsport cars came together. Terrace Australia's Racing, rather. And there's Davey Van der Veen. Qualified, I believe, 26, is up to 23rd. Maybe still reeling from what happened to his teammate and the controversy at Curitiba, the preseason event. Mike Bell there, up from 30 or 29th on the grid, and Mike Bell doesn't look like he wants to be up in on 24th, so very much longer. Goes straight off on Curva Sul, and now is going on a complete off-track adventure. Mike Bell just not having a good go of it. Maybe he's got some damage on that car, because this is a bit ridiculous, as who is that there in behind him? That is going to be Jonathan Okercliff there in behind. These two good friends, they're going to be very respectful in this battle. Now, Neo Nascimento is out the race. Brett Gray, Brendan Russo, Simon Garner, and Dan Allison has been disqualified. So maybe that bit of that spin on the formation that really cost Mr. Allison, who obviously was really looking forward to this race. So let's take you back up toward the front. That's Peter Dweevelaar is still under pressure from there. It's Gabriel Bechtold. I mean, Bechtold has done very well to hold on to Dweevelaar, and so that means, like I said, in race 1, Gabriel was very good on his tires, and now in race 2, he's looking very good on his tires again. So maybe he's not going to fall off like Levite did at the end of race 1. And Robert Wiesemuller has done very well to stay in contact with these two, because Wiesemuller's in a good spot, because guess what? If there's some contact within the final 5 laps to go or something like that, guess who's winning the race? Robert Wiesemuller. But regardless, Peter Dweevelaar is still looking very fast. Ran a 23.9 his last lap, and now we're going on lap 15. So Dweevelaar is looking, this guy's just looking like he's on complete championship mode right now. We'll see what he's got going across the strike. 24.9. 24-9. Don't know what that's about there. Dweevil maybe a little bit of mistake, or maybe I was looking at the wrong lap time, because the previous lap was showing 23.9, and now he's a full second off that pace, so not sure what's happening there. Again, there's Wiesenmüller there in third position, who's done well to hold off Emilio Doxzella, who we thought would be the faster driver going into tonight's race, but hasn't proved that way. William Levike has not made any headway since getting into fifth position, so, but fifth position, that's very good. We don't know what exactly happened to Levike there as he was running in third position, but fifth position, that's going to stop the bleeding, you know, help him heal up, maybe not win this race, but it's certainly going to put him in position to be a player in this championship as we move on to round 2. There's Darius Swiderski and Reese Gardner, the two ATCC mainstays. They're going head and shoulders at one another. This is going to be a very respectful battle. These guys have raced each other for years now, and they're both two veteran racers. We haven't seen them in the TPS scene the past really year, but it's really nice to see these guys back out on track. You definitely know they're getting themselves together for the run in ATCC. Again, season 5 is starting in November. Can't wait for that one personally. I mean, it's just going to be an absolute treat to watch that. And there's Jacarepagua Andre Bogdan, another ATCC driver there in 8th. He's done very well to get from the grid. All these guys, Swiderski, I mean, he's going to be completely chuffed with 6th position, or he's just going to be through the roof about it. And then James Johnson, nice to see him make some headway up the grid. Obviously, ran into some weird trouble in race 2, race 1 rather, where Dan Allison made an odd move to go into him. But an update at the front, looks like Peter Dweevil has broken the toe on Gabriel Bechtold, as now that gap is 0.6, as you can see down below on the live timing there for you. Meanwhile, we are tracking Reese Gardner and Darius Swiderski as they fight over 6th position. There's Jacarepagua Andre Bogdan, James Johnson, Adrian McNaughton. You got to think there's some damage on McNaughton's car, because he's a little faster than the cars in front of him, but has not made any headway since dropping back behind them. Marlon Lenz, who's now down in 11th, finished 13th in race 1, so a solid result, maybe a couple of solid results in line for Mr. Marlon Lenz. Well, a little bit of off-track moment for Matt Clark there and Ethan Bass, and now Bass is going to try to get to Matt Clark, because I mean we've had reports about a little bit of damage there on Matt Clark. Let's actually take a look at that, see if we can spot anything. I mean, let's take a look around, a bit of a look in that front quarter panel, maybe that is. Yeah, maybe you viewers probably can see a little better than me here, but yeah, maybe a slight amount of contact. I'm not really picking up too much from Matt Clark, but he's not really making any headway up the field. We're going to try to, I'm hearing about the rear left, so yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a mark up there. Yeah, maybe that's holding up Mr. Matt Clark there as he tries to carry on with his race. Continuing our run down the field, we have again Ahab Abbas there in 14th, Paul Wood in 15th. Look at this battle in behind. Ray Lilly has not allowed Robert Isles and get away from Terrace Australis Racing. And let's see who's in behind. I think that's Philip Antonia. So we'll stick with this battle for a little bit. Maybe Ray Lilly can have a look here. He's going to have a nice, if he can get a run out this corner, he's going to be able to have a look up the inside of Robert Isles and retakes at 16th position, which he scrapped tooth and nail for in qualification. Ray Lilly, he's going to be in the draft. Robert tries to break the toe here, and Ray's going to let him go offline here. Maybe he can pull a switchback. Ray, he goes right up to this. Might be a planned overtake by Ray Lilly. He doesn't run it inside. That is the cleanest move we've seen all night, ladies and gentlemen. Done by Ray Lilly to get up to 16th. He's going to be absolutely through the moon on that move. And there is in the background Robert Isles, maybe a bit taken by surprise on that one as he runs wide on turn 3, and Ray Lilly gets it done, gets up to 16th. That's a great move by Mr. Lilly. And now look up ahead, there's Paul Wood. Maybe there's a bit of uncertainty now going through Terrace Australis Racing as Ray Lilly surges through the field. Maybe he can get to Paul Wood before this race is out. Only 2 laps remaining. Peter Dweevil continues to hold the lead. Pretty much nothing going on at the front. We do have Darius Swiderski and Reese Gardner continuing their action, but Robert Isles has got to watch himself from Philip Antonia as he goes through Victoria to start off the 19th lap of this event. We'll continue to go through the battles here at the latter half of the field. Actually, nothing really going on there, so let's go to the front. Let's see if we can pick up with that battle between Reese and Darius. But actually, no, look at this. Still about a 6/10 gap here at the front. So, I mean, Bechtold has not really been able to have a look at Dweevelar, but he's done a lot better job of holding on to Dweevelar than Levick did in race 1. And meanwhile, Robert Wiesema looks like he's pretty much got 3rd place assigned, sealed, and delivered at this point, because Emmanuel has not been able to get to Robert at all. These guys are going through Victoria to start the 19th lap. I'm sorry, this is the 19th lap here of the race here tonight. Only a few laps remaining, and you gotta wonder, Dweevelar, this guy does not make mistakes. I mean, eyes on the prize for this guy, because he's, I mean, and quite, that's Liam Jenkins saying, but this guy quite literally has his eye on the prize, and he likes that game on GT2 Sport, and that's what he wants. That is definitely what this man is after, and that goes to the victor. So this guy is trying to win the championship. Only about 2 laps remaining here, and Dweevelar has about 3/10 lead now. Bechtold has cut into Dweevelar's lead a little bit. Let's see if this develops. With only 2 laps remaining. I mean, Bechtold, he did well conserving his tires in race 1. In race 2 here, maybe he's been saving something up against Dweevelar, because this gap got to 0.8 of a second at one point, but it's down to only 0.4. Maybe Bechtold, the Brazilian star, has something left in the tank. Maybe he wants to stamp his name as a TPS speedster to watch with a win in this, I believe this is his debut race, so maybe another speedster has entered the TPS fray. Again, he's only got about 11.5 now to get this done, so through the start-finish straight, he's going to need to run out of turn, going into turn 1 and then coming out of turn 1. He's got to put pressure on him for this final lap, because and pretty much pressure's not going to do it. He's got to get an overlap on Peter Dweevelar, because Dweevelar is not going to make the mistake. Certainly, Levick found that out the hard way, and let's see what Bechtold can do. We'll stick with this battle since this is the remainder of the race, but an update on that battle for 6th and 7th between Reese Gardner and Darius Radersky. Reese has done it. He's got around his ATCC contemporary in Darius Radersky for 7th position. Meanwhile, Karamidaro Andre Bogdan has fallen down to 10th, and Adrian McNaughton has recovered for 8th position. His same position, I believe, he got in race 1, so he's done well to recover from his incident with Matt Clark. So anyway, we are on the final lap. Here we have Peter Dweevelar and Gabriel Bechtold fighting for the lead. Only 6/10 in between these guys, but Dweevelar has kind of put down the hammer, has gotten that gap up when it was only 3/10 the lap before, and you got to think at this point this thing is done, signed, sealed, and delivered to Peter Dweevelar. But maybe it's just a bit of a run here. Bechtold gets through that first sector, because he once again cuts the gap down to 3/10. But in this second and third sector, Dweevelar seems to have the advantage. Dweevelar is going to hug the apex, just pretty much ride it out. We're going in the box, the last 2 corners on the track. Dweevelar, he's got a nice, healthy lead. That's now right on board with Dweevelar, because it looks like this thing is done. Dweevelar, he looks like he's going to perform his first ever double win in the Touring Pro Series. He's driven a lot of races, so it's actually a bit of a shame to see that this is the first time he's ever done it before, but well done to him. This guy, when he's winning races, there might be no one better in the game, in the Touring Pro Series than Peter Dweevelar. He takes the double win, and in behind him, let's actually keep up with this battle going on for 4th position, as there's Reese Miller in 3rd, as we have Emmanuel Gonzalez, and actually William Levick does pass Emmanuel 4th. Well done for winning to stop the bleeding there. That's very well done. And Reese Gardner holds up Darius Radersky for that 6th spot, and those guys are very happy. They're weaving the car across the start-finish straight just to show the excitement. And look at this. That is James Johnson, and I believe, who is that there, actually? James Johnson and Matt Clark. And Matt Clark gets just around James Johnson and pips him for 9th position. Well done, Matt Clark, to recover somewhat from that unfortunate drop through the field after his crash. There is Ahab. Actually, I'm sorry. Actually, it was I've got a bit of a report there by Ethan Bass, but I'm a little bit confused about it. But anyhow, just to go through the field, Ethan Bass there in 11th, Marlon Lynch 12th, Karamidaro Andre Bogdan takes 13th. Wow, Karamidaro fell through the field the final few laps. Maybe those tires completely were shot on him. So anyhow, we have Ahab Abbas in 14th, Paul Wood 15th, Robert Idols retook Ray Lilly. I'm kind of sorry to hear that, but Ray Lilly is in 17th, Philip Antonia in 19th, or rather 18th, Alexander Rhodes in 19th. We have Vinicius Ferreira in 20th, Daniel Wood 21st, Scott Sovic 22nd, Davey Vandeveen in 23rd, 24th goes to Jonathan Okerklint. I think Mike Bell is going to round out our field, and yep, that is that is going to round out our field as Peter Dweevelar takes the double win to open up the championship. Well done to Peter. I mean, absolutely an incredible drive from the Dutchman. And we're going to have the driver interview starting up in a second. Just another word from our sponsors, and we'll try to get these guys in the booth for a bit of a chat after the race.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
With round 1 at hand, Virtual Mini Challenge is already abuzz with excitement. VCS Season 2 champ William the Vike is primed for another title run, but rival Ryan Collin will try to undo the French-Canadian success. THR once again field a strong lineup and look ready to win the Constructors' Cup, but return of Terra Australis Racing and newly formed Sim Speed Racing look to play spoils at Jacarepagua. Virtual Mini Challenge, round 1, tonight.
All right, and we are back after the 2 races here at Jacarepagua Curva Sul. We have a few drivers joining us in the booth here, one of which is William Levite. Unfortunately, we don't have a double race winner, Peter Dweevelar, with us, but we'll go with William first. William, obviously, you were a major player going into the first race. I mean, you've qualified second. Unfortunately, you fell away from Dweevelar, but we missed it on the broadcast. What happened that kind of gave Dweevelar his 2-second lead on you?
It was just me being a noob, really, again. I outbraked myself while having a run on the outside of Dweevelar, 3 corners from the finish. And from there, I tried pushing, and then I was just making mistakes after mistakes. Then the second race was pretty much the same, me being a noob, and I just gave away a podium finish, and yeah, not really the event I was looking forward to, but we'll see in the next one if I can do them, but yeah.
Now, would you say, normally you're known for your tire conservation, but obviously Dweevelar was able to pull away from you after you had your bit of a mistake. Were there any trouble keeping the tires on the car tonight?
Not really, it's just I wasn't 100%, I guess.
Yeah, well, good result. Nonetheless, you finished second and fourth, so that puts you right there in the championship hunt. The next guy I want to point this down to is Gabriel Bechto, the Brazilian that was right in the mix for the race 2 win. Gabriel, after kind of falling a little bit back, I think finishing just inside the top 5 in race 1, race 2 you were able to come out and really turn some heads. First of all, where did your pole time come from? Talk us through that one.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, the second race was better. I could make the pole with a great lap, no mistakes at the lap. I was searching that lap in the race 1, but I couldn't find it, and that helped me to get a good result, because when you avoid trouble in the beginning, I could make some gap in the beginning, but Peter was really fast in that race, and he was getting closer and closer, and I tried to not fight very much with him because I don't want to lose time for the others. And so the strategy was to keep following him to the end and try to to overtake him in the end, but he was really fast, and I couldn't even get past him with even with the draft. So I want to congratulate him, and I really I'm just fine with I'm happy with the results, top five in the both race, and I want to congratulate everyone, and let's go to the another one.
Yeah, so I mean, just really quick about, I know it's very early in the championship, but you've got to be feeling very confident about your chances to really make a statement and maybe even win the championship outright as the season progresses.
I don't know. The car is new to everyone, so I want to thank my partner Neto Nascimento, who helped me with the setup and all the stuffs. We're gonna try harder. We're gonna train harder, and we aim to get cool races and have fun. That's the main point.
Well done to you tonight. Now I'm going to point this down to Emilio Gaxella, obviously the reigning RD stock car champion. Emilio, talk us through your races tonight. You were very sporty out there. Do you feel, are you happy with your results?
Hello everyone. Yeah, was quite a good result for me because I'm coming after a 6 months break from official racing, and to be up there with the top guys, it's quite a surprise, but also a pleasure for me.
Now, how do you feel about your chances kind of moving forward in the championship? I'm not sure if you are aware of the preseason rankings, but you were ranked the third strongest driver going into it. So, I mean, what are your thoughts coming out of round one at Jacarepagua?
Well, clearly I'm not the favorite on this championship, but I try to play the Alonso style in this one and try to make as mistakes.
Right. Of course. Well, obviously, you're looking very strong to begin the championship. So, well done to you tonight. Robert, we'll now go to you. You finished sixth in race one, and then in race two, you surprised everyone by taking podium, just capitalizing off not only other drivers' mistakes, but you showed the pace there to really challenge, to really hold on to that third position. So, talk us through what happened in race two.
Well, in race two, I really good. Kind of stuck in the battle at the beginning, and I lost ground. I couldn't get the slipstream from the groups in front of me, so I finished sixth, which is already a good result. Then in the second race, I think I just drove one of the best races of my life. And yeah, I was really pushing. I was really smelling the victory, I have to say. But in the end, I was just not fast enough. But it's my first podium at TPS, so I'm really happy about it.
Yes, very well done there. So, I mean, sixth and third, that's going to put you right into the championship mix. Obviously, Peter is going to be the odds-on favorite now, taking the double win. But what are your thoughts now moving forward? Do you feel that you are a contender as we get to round two and beyond?
Well, there's also one thing that was rather unfortunate. There was an incident between me and Neto Nascimento,
Right.
where I drove into the back of his car, apparently. When I was driving, I didn't really feel like I was pushing him off, and I've just watched the replay, and on my replay, the cars don't touch, so it was a really strange accident. We'll have to wait and see what comes from it, because obviously I'm on probation here, because I had a couple of incidents in other series. So yeah, this kind of is important for the championship challenge, but I think in general I'm really happy with my pace, and I think I can take more podiums this season.
Right. I mean, well, obviously, you and Nascimento's contact was unfortunate, but it was so slight that we could barely see that we weren't sure if it was you or just a Nascimento mistake. So it was just not that much in it. But before we wrap it up here tonight, let me just point this down to Reese Gardner. Reese, you kind of struggled in qualifying, but in race two, you really came up with the goods there and finished sixth. So I mean, how you made I believe a closing laps pass on Mr. Darius Radersky. So how did that go? How did your race two go?
Well, in race one, I was caught up in battles with Marlon and a few other guys. So my tires got really worn down because I was scrambling around trying to get positions. So it didn't work out too well in that respect. But in qualifying for race two, I managed to get 10th, which turned into 9th after Matt Clark unfortunately spun on the formation lap. But I found a space in the field, and I tried to just drive as smoothly as I could and look after my tyres. I managed to profit from the mistakes of a few others, and when William ended up spinning off, I just decided to let him back by without much fuss, because he was definitely much faster than me. But as I was coming up on Darius, I saw him lighting up his tyres all the way through the corners, like, you know, skid marks, smoke, and all that sort of stuff. So he was wearing his tyres down a bit, so I thought I could probably gain an advantage from that. So it was just a case of closing up to him and just trying to find a way past him. I did, and yeah, I'm really happy with 6th place. Not bad for the first outing.
Yeah, so very good stuff from you and other ATCC mainstay drivers. So anyhow, that's going to conclude our coverage, but let me just point you down to the next TPS broadcast, which is scheduled for October 3rd. This is Virtual Clio Series at Thruxton. At Thruxton, obviously, this has become kind of a mainstay staple round in Virtual Clio Series. Again, you can catch that October 3rd at I believe that is 1845 GMT, where you have host Keith Barrick and Scott Woodwis on commentary duties for what looks to be a very pivotal round of the championship. And just to hold on, next round for Virtual Mini Series, obviously this poster is for this round of Virtual Mini Challenge. I'm sorry. So that you can look forward to that on October 13th at Curitiba, where we had our preseason event. So again, that's in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully we have Ben Davis and Toby Davis back on commentary roles, and my fill-in role is officially over. So until then, we will see you. And just a quick word from our sponsors, and we will send you off.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing, puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.